With a sharp hiss and a heavy thud, Su-hong delivered a brutal high kick. Following it up, his fist slammed into his sparring partner with devastating force. The training hall echoed with the intense sounds of their spar, Su-hong pushing his limits and leaving his opponent overwhelmed. His spiky-haired friend stumbled back, rubbing his chest. He groaned, "Ah, that hurt like hell." The friend caught his breath, looking impressed. "Su-hong, your diamond fist has improved again. You haven't reached subtlety, have you?" Su-hong casually fell into a stance and replied, "I just reached subtlety 2 days ago." Now, this is where it gets interesting. In this world, martial mastery is divided into 5 levels. Entry, proficiency, subtlety, great accomplishment, and finally, perfection. His friend threw up a thumbs up, completely amazed. "Awesome. In terms of diamond fist, nobody in the class is up to your level." But Su-hong wasn't done yet. He smirked, his eyes burning with determination. "Had enough rest? Let's keep training." His friend immediately bolted for the door, waving his hands frantically. "You training maniac, I'm not sticking around. I'm going home to eat." Su-hong just watched him run off, silently amused. As his friend left, he waved at their instructor. "Goodbye, Teacher Lee." The teacher sighed, adjusting his glasses. "Put your clothes on properly before you leave." Teacher Lee then turned his attention to his star student, his expression turning serious. "Su-hong, I finally found you. Aren't you applying for the martial division?" The teacher crossed his arms. "Why haven't you paid the 30,000 yuan registration fee yet? Registration closes next Monday." A heavy silence fell over Su-hong. Sweat dripping from his chin, he pleaded softly, "Teacher, can't you give me a few more days?" But the teacher shook his head. "I know your family's struggling, but there's nothing I can do. Rules are rules." The harsh reality sank in as the gym lights began to click off, one by one, leaving Su-hong standing entirely alone in the vast, empty hall. He kept training, pouring his frustration into every single punch. He muttered between heavy breaths, 30,000 yuan for the registration fee. 30,000 yuan. The burden was heavy. His mind drifted back to the ruins of his childhood, to the terrible day his parents were lost in a ferocious beast disaster. He looked back on the past. "And after that, I've been living with my uncle and aunt's family. Once they learned I had martial arts talent, they fully supported my training." And why wouldn't they? In an era overrun by ferocious beasts, powerful martial artists were the absolute top earners. But guilt gnawed at him. Su-hong gritted his teeth, his muscles tense. "I train in martial arts so they can live good lives, but now I'm just making things harder for them." Later that night, the city streets were quiet as Su-hong made his way back to his humble apartment complex. But here is the catch. As he reached the front door, he paused. He could hear his aunt's worried voice from inside. "Our rent's coming due soon, right? How much short are we?" His uncle immediately replied, "Oh, rent can wait. Let's pay little Hong's registration fee first." His uncle continued warmly, "Hong's talent is so great. He'll definitely make something of himself. We can't hold the kid back." Su-hong listened quietly by the door, his heart sinking. Through the window, Su-hong saw his uncle's battered body covered in medical patches. His aunt insisted, "Then I'll stop my meds too. They don't work anyway. It'll save a bunch." His uncle stubbornly argued back, "No way. I'll pick up an extra job. You just rest at home and don't worry about a thing." Standing in the shadows of the hallway, Su-hong looked absolutely defeated. The weight of their sacrifice felt suffocating. He clutched his head in agony, overwhelmed by a mix of desperation and deep love for his only family. Forcing a bright smile onto his face, he finally walked in. "Uncle, Aunt, I'm home." His aunt immediately turned around. "Oh dear, practicing till this late again? You must be beat." When Su-hong tried to help with the chores, his aunt shooed him away. "Can't I handle this little thing? Get back to your room and rest, or you won't have energy tomorrow." His uncle supported his wife. "Listen to your aunt. Go rest now." Later that evening, moonlight spilled peacefully through his bedroom window. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, Su-hong made a firm resolution. "Uncle, Aunt, you've done more than enough for me. I'll handle my own problems." Lying, he thought, for a martial practitioner to earn tens of thousands in just a few days, there's only one place. The very next day, Su-hong found himself standing before a massive, imposing building hidden away from the public eye. Inside, the underground fight club was deafening. The announcer's voice echoed through the arena. "Folks in the crowd, welcome to the Martial Disciple Guard Challenge. No holds barred, life or death. Victory is all." The spotlight hit the center ring. Standing beside the blonde announcer was Su-hong, his face hidden behind a menacing red Minotaur mask. She shouted, "Today, holding down the stage, is the one and only Mr. Minotaur." She laid out the stakes. Win 4 in a row, and claim 60,000 in prize money. Lose, and it's zilch. Eyes peeled. Su-hong looked determined under the mask. The audience murmured in disbelief. "Who's this guy? Never seen him before," one asked. "A newbie," another scoffed. "Jumping straight into the guard challenge? That's asking to be destroyed." The announcer nudged him sharply. "Hey kid, amp it up. Get the crowd hyped." Su-hong looked at her completely lost. How do I get the crowd hyped?" She sighed, clearly annoyed by his lack of experience. "Provoke them. Trash talk. What a pain newbies are." Su-hong nodded. "Okay, got it." Taking a deep breath, Su-hong puffed out his chest and roared into the microphone. Invincible against anyone below martial artist. Weaklings, come get some. The crowd erupted in a mix of shock and rage. Damn, that cocky. Badass. You won't even know how he goes down later. The tension reached a boiling point. The crowd chanted, destroy, crush the Minotaur. The announcer threw her hand up, and now, let the match begin. Under the mask, Su Hong was entirely focused. He thought, no surprise from the underground fight club. The hostile intent here is insane. But this is the only way to scrape tuition fast. Hope my diamond fist racks up some wins. His first opponent, wearing a wild dog mask, lunged at him aggressively. Cocky punk. I'll play with you. Su Hong thought tons of momentum, but lower stance looks shaky. Seems easy pickings. The fighter threw a fierce hook, but Su Hong leaned back, easily dodging the strike. What are you daydreaming about? The opponent mocked. Without a word, Su Hong gathered a dense, powerful aura around his hand. In a flash, Su Hong countered, slamming his glowing palm directly into the opponent's face. The fighter let out a muffled yell. A massive shockwave echoed through the arena as the fighter was blasted backward onto the canvas. Standing triumphantly over his fallen foe, Su Hong raised his fist. The announcer declared, Minotaur, 1 win. Su Hong simply shouted, next. The crowd went absolutely feral, screaming, badass. A hulking man in a luchador mask stepped into the ring next, cracking his knuckles. Lucky break. But against me, your luck's up. Su Hong gestured for him to attack. After you. He analyzed the man, thinking, built like he's got skills. Perfect to test Diamond Fist power. The giant charged forward with terrifying speed and screaming incoming. Their fists collided in the center of the ring, sending a sharp gust of wind through the entire stadium. Su Hong stood his ground perfectly. Strong fist wind, but his punch power is weaker than mine. Deflecting the massive blow, Su Hong seized his moment, and after tanking my punch, your upper body's overcommit, waist wide open with flaws. Su Hong observed with a sharp, calculated gaze. With brutal precision, Su Hong drove a kick straight into the man's exposed midsection. The impact sent the giant skidding violently across the canvas. Spectators gasped, holy nonsense. He's strong. The announcer cheered enthusiastically. Minotaur, 2 wins in a row. Again, Su Hong demanded, next. High above the roaring crowd, inside a luxurious VIP suite, the fights were being closely monitored. An older man in a sharp suit watched with intense interest. Not even a quasi-martial artist, but way above average disciples. This kid is no joke. As Su Hong claimed his 3rd victory, the boss noted, not elite but solid enough. Perfect for throwing matches. From the shadows of the VIP room, a figure in a white fox mask stepped forward. Teacher, I'll recruit him. The boss nodded. Remember, don't let on you've advanced to a martial artist. Back in the ring, medical staff carried away Su Hong's 3rd victim. Su Hong exhaled. Looks like my subtlety-level Diamond Fist has no trouble with these regular disciples. He tightened his hand wraps, his eyes locked on the prize. Just 1 more win, and that's 60,000. Suddenly, the crowd erupted in shock. Su Hong turned to see his final challenger. It's White Fox. He's challenging too, someone yelled. Whispers filled the arena. Isn't he a quasi? A quasi taking on disciples? That's a total cheat. Su Hong narrowed his eyes under the mask. A quasi. This one's tricky, but I absolutely cannot lose. Beneath his pristine mask, White Fox wore a confident, almost arrogant smirk. He stood casually in the center of the ring, wearing a tailored white suit. No fear, White Fox declared softly. I know my limits. The announcer raised her arm high. Guard challenge, final round. Begin. The 2 fighters instantly closed the distance in an absolute blur of motion. Knowing he was outranked, Su Hong decided to strike hard and fast. My realm's lower, so my first move's gotta be all in. He threw a devastating punch, but White Fox casually deflected it, creating a shockwave that rippled through the ring. Su Hong's eyes widened in sheer realization. Wait, that power. He's no quasi. Panic briefly flashed across Su Hong's face. He's a real martial artist. He's holding back his chi and blood on purpose. White Fox took a deep, deliberate breath and unleashed a blindingly fast counterattack. Rushing Thunder Fist. A heavy blow landed squarely on Su Hong's jaw, sending a crimson mist into the air. Su Hong reeled back, terrifying power. Is this martial artist strength? The audience was losing their minds. It's triple ringing Thunder Fist. The Minotaur is toast. White Fox pressed the assault, his fists nothing but a blur. Just gonna defend? Fight back. Show me what you got. Su Hong raised his guard, struggling to weather the vicious storm. Keep this up, and it's over. He gritted his teeth, his mind racing. Gotta find a counter chance. Slipping under a vicious hook, Su Hong saw a tiny, split-second opening. With a desperate roar, White Fox drove his fist right into Su Hong's face. With a brutal slam, Su Hong crashing down to the floor. Su Hong's vision blurred, the impact leaving a devastating mark. Damn, Kunsky useless. Fading fast, White Fox stepped heavily on his Su Hong's head, looking down with absolute disdain. Brother, this match's prize money? 0 for you. Leaning in closer, White Fox whispered darkly. But my teacher's inviting you to join us. Throw fights for us going forward, and we'll pay this prize anyway if you say yes. Su-hong spat back. That kind of dirty work? No way in hell. White Fox's eyes turned cold behind the mask. Think it over. You can't handle refusing us. Struggling under the heavy boot, Su-hong glared up fiercely. Pull this arrogance and call yourselves martial artists. White Fox sighed, clearly disappointed. I guess it's no deal then. Drawing back his fist, White Fox prepared a lethal strike. Fine, I'll end you. Be a martial artist in your dreams. Time seemed to slow down for Su-hong. His body was completely broken, but his spirit raged like a wildfire. White Fox delivered a punishing kick that can send Su-hong rolling across the stage, but Su-hong gets up and dodged the attack. Su-hong began to rise. A fiery, intense aura erupted around his battered body. He chanted himself, I can't fail here. Can't fail. Can't fail. White Fox froze, utterly bewildered by the sight. What? He got hit by my rushing thunder fist, and he still stands. In his mind, Su-hong saw the gentle faces of his aunt and uncle. I will become a martial artist. I want them living good lives. I can't waste their years of sacrifice. But do I abandon a martial artist code for real? The thought of submitting to the underground boss shattered the image of his happy family. No, no, that future? No. Suddenly, a strange holographic interface materialized over his vision, asking a chilling question. Then, for your family, for your faith, what price will you pay? Engulfed in blazing energy, Su-hong looked up, his eyes glowing fiercely. He roared his answer to the universe. Everything. Are you willing to pay the price? The strange prompt asked. Su-hong, his aura flaring like a raging fire, roared everything. And with a heavy thud, his fate shifted. The fiery energy dissolved into the air, leaving Su-hong standing bare-chested, his eyes wide with utter shock. He looked around the eerie, dark expanse. He murmured, what kind of place is this? Shadows stretched wildly across the cold stone floor. Suddenly, a blinding golden light erupted. A towering, radiant entity materialized before him. Su-hong breathed out, you are. The majestic figure gestured toward him with a sweeping motion. The entity's voice echoed through the space, I will give you this chance. With a sharp hiss, golden rings of energy coiled around Su-hong's body, lifting him slightly as power surged through the air. A glowing, golden holographic panel materialized right in front of him with a soft sliding sound, lighting up the dim ruins. Su-hong stared, he thought this is? The panel displayed his stats, vitality, spirit, physique, and an active mission labeled, Way of the Arena. He reached out, tapping the glowing interface. He wondered aloud, this thing seems to display all my attributes. Is it a touchscreen? With a soft tap, he opened the mission log. It ordered him to polish his martial arts and raise his Vajra fist proficiency. But here's the catch. There was no reward, just a beginner's guide. Beginner's guide? Su-hong questioned. Right on cue, the air shimmered, and a translucent, glowing white clone of himself materialized. Without warning, the holographic clone lunged forward, cutting through the air with a deadly swiftness. Su-hong barely managed to drop low, feeling the heavy gust of the clone's swinging fist graze right over his spiky hair. Sweat beaded down his face. He thought, is this my clone? It is even using the Vajra fist, and it is perfectly executed, as standard as a textbook. A confident grin spread across his face. He shouted, with such a good role model right in front of me, how could I miss the chance to learn? He launched his own fear strike. Their fists collided with a devastating impact, shockwaves ripping through the arena. The clone fluidly transitioned into another stance. Su-hong observed keenly, asking himself, is he demonstrating for me? He let his guard down for a split second. Oh no, he grunted as a heavy blow slammed into his chest. The impact sent him skidding backward across the stone floor with a sharp hiss, but he quickly regained his footing. He glanced at his system panel. He was amazed. 10%? I remember it was only 7% before. Improvement came this fast? He wiped his mouth and dropped back into a fighting stance. He thought, this simulation is intense, but it definitely allows me to upgrade my martial skills quickly. With newfound determination, Su-hong and his glowing counterpart charged at each other, leaving trails of energy in their wake. A relentless barrage of punches and kicks followed. Each clash echoed loudly as his proficiency steadily climbed. The system panels flashed rapidly, numbers soaring. 50%, 80%, his floating light palm and void step maxed out in real time. With a swift, blinding strike, his floating light palm broke through the micro-level barrier. He dashed forward, moving like a phantom as his void step reached absolute mastery. Finally, he delivered a crushing blow straight into the clone's chest. The system chimed, announcing his Vajra fist was fully mastered. The glowing clone shattered into 1,000 sparkling fragments. Su-hong stood victorious, panting heavily, catching his breath. A notification popped up, congratulating him on completing the mission. He smiled tiredly and whispered, thanks a lot. The prompt asked if he wanted to return to reality. He simply stated agree. In a flash, he was back in the underground ring, still facing the masked White Fox. The white fox, annoyed by the sudden pause, lunged forward. He sneered, playing mysterious. Take this. The fox unleashed a flurry of strikes, shouting Thunder Rush Fist, as his fists blurred through the air. But to Su Hong, the world seemed to crawl. He effortlessly swayed past the attacks, murmuring, so slow. The white fox's eyes widened behind his mask. His ultimate attack had struck nothing but empty air, and now the fist of Su Hong is moving rapidly toward him. With a thunderous explosion of power, Su Hong countered. His fist slammed into the fox's face, completely shattering the porcelain mask. The Minotaur had awakened. Su Hong stood tall, his gaze piercing and unyielding, proving his absolute dominance. The crowd fell into an immediate, stunned silence. The spectators stared, mouths agape, completely unable to process what they just witnessed. Su Hong stood victorious over the unconscious white fox, his red, glowing eyes scanning the quiet arena. He turned to the stunned blonde announcer. He demanded calmly, I won the 4th match. When will you give me the prize money? She stuttered, oh right. Up in the luxury box, the VIP boss gripped his wine glass. He muttered in disbelief, Vajra, fist mastered? How could a mere apprentice achieve that? Most seasoned martial artists cannot even do that. His eyes narrowed with dangerous intent. He ordered his bodyguards, you guys follow him. Investigate his true identity. Later that night, Su Hong, now dressed in his normal clothes, walked casually down a quiet, dimly lit alleyway. He paused, his piercing blue eyes catching a faint shadow creeping up behind him. He knew he was being followed. The 2 suited bodyguards rushed around the corner, only to find the alley completely empty. He had vanished like a ghost. One of them scratched his head and asked, where is he? Other one declared, the boss gave orders we must find out his true identity. High above them, Su Hong had wedged himself between the narrow building walls. He chuckled softly, try to track me, huh? The night sky was clear and full of stars, bringing a rare moment of peace to the bustling city. An hour later, Su Hong finally arrived back at his modest apartment complex. Inside, Su Hong put the bundle of cash in front of his uncle and aunt. They were shocked and asked, Hong, did you go rob a bank? Where did this money come from? He explained smoothly, am I not working as a sparring partner at a dojo? The master thinks I'm a talent and decided to sponsor me. His uncle looked skeptical, questioning if that dojo was not extremely stingy before. Su Hong gently grabbed their hands, giving them a warm, reassuring smile. He asked, Uncle, Annie, do you not trust me yet? His aunt teared up slightly, and his uncle laughed, proudly declaring that their little Hong really had a promising future. After ensuring they were asleep, Su Hong slipped out onto the rooftop, his movements light and precise. He sat under the moonlight, letting out a sigh of relief. He thought the exam fee is solved. The rent is solved. Andy's medical expenses are no longer a worry for now. Ha! He summoned his system panel once more. He noted that turning danger into safety was all thanks to this mysterious system. But something caught his eye. Now, this is where it gets interesting. He noticed a new stat. He wondered, martial value? It turns out defeating higher-level opponents rewarded him with points he could use. Curious, he muttered, let's try it now. He tapped the glowing plus icon next to his vitality stat. With a sharp ding, his vitality surged straight up to 90. His eyes shot wide open as an overwhelming sensation washed over him. A fierce, fiery red energy erupted from his body, swirling around him like a raging tempest. He exhaled a long breath, amazed. He noted that hitting a vitality value of 90 meant he had officially reached the level of a quasi-martial artist. Without hesitation, his fingers danced across the screen. He commanded, add all the remaining martial value to vitality. He lifted his shirt, marveling at his flawless skin. He thought, not only has my physical strength improved significantly, but even my wounds are fully healed. My body feels like it has endless strength. Eager to test his limits, he needed a target. He leaped boldly off the rooftop, bounding across the sleeping city. A confident smirk crept onto his face. He decided, I might as well go to the school's drill ground. There's a combat power tester there. He arrived at the silent, moonlit amphitheater of Star City High School, where the heavy machinery awaited. He walked up to the massive, mechanical Tier 1 combat power tester, cracking his knuckles. Aura flared around his fist. He shouted, for this punch, I will use 70% strength first. His eyes glowed with intense focus, channeling every ounce of his newly acquired power into his arm. He unleashed a devastating strike. His fist slammed into the heavy pad with a thunderous explosion of light and force. The smoke cleared. Su Hong stood frozen, muttering a confused, The massive machine was completely obliterated, sparking with electricity. He panicked slightly, thinking, nonsense, the quality of this tester is too poor. They will not make me pay for it, right? Hearing an angry voice yell about the noise, Su Hong bolted out of the arena at top speed. He told himself, run, run. An elderly caretaker stormed out in his pajamas, staring at the ruined machine in utter disbelief. He yelled, asking which arrogant punk had smashed the tester. The only ones in school capable of doing this are those 2 little brats, Chun Shan and Li Tu. Assuming it was his troublemaking students, the old man's face turned red with fury. He roared, wait until school starts. I am definitely going to educate you properly. The Star City High School gymnasium was packed to the brim. A restless buzz of chatter echoed across the massive basketball court as hundreds of students gathered, waiting for the main event. Among the crowd, Su-hong whispered loudly. Why was Chun-shan beaten up? His spiky-haired friend listened in, exchanging a knowing glance. I heard Chun-shan smash the tester in the outdoor drill ground last night, the friend whispered, chuckling. He refused to admit it, so the principal punished him. Su-hong offered a quiet, awkward smile and thought they totally made him take the blame. Suddenly, a booming voice echoed from the speakers. Quiet down, students. Oldie stood at the microphone, looking stern. Today I invited my old comrade in arms, a Tier 3 martial artist, Chun Tian, he announced. Beside him stood a commanding man with a mustache. Oldly continued. He is here to teach everyone a C-rank martial art. The Thunder Rush Fist. Everyone must learn it well. The crowd erupted in awe. This is my first time seeing a Tier 3 martial artist, someone muttered. Another chimed in. A C-rank martial art taught at an outside dojo would cost hundreds of thousands in tuition alone. Su-hong stared intently at Chun Tian. He thought, it's actually the Thunder Rush Fist. That White Fox guy from the underground club used it too. He vividly remembered the devastating strikes. One punch blasting out the impact of three. Truly powerful. Realizing the massive financial value of this free lesson, Su-hong clenched his fist with intense determination. I must seize this opportunity, he told himself. Chun Tian took the stage, cutting through the excitement. Students, enough nonsense, he barked. I will demonstrate it 10 times from start to finish. How much you learn depends entirely on yourselves. With a soft sliding sound, Chun Tian firmly planted his foot onto the stage. He threw a lightning-fast punch that cut through the air. The Thunder Rush Fist is fierce and domineering, Chun Tian explained. When you reach the basic level, a single punch will emit the sound of thunder. He moved seamlessly, unleashing a flurry of blows. At the proficient level, you can strike out 3 sounds, he yelled over the crackling air. At the micro level, 5 sounds. Chun Tian roared, launching a strike so powerful it seemed to ignite the air itself. Mastered is 7 sounds, which is my current realm. He lowered his stance and addressed the awestruck students. When you reach the perfect realm, you can strike out 9 sounds. However, he chuckled dryly, don't aim too high. Reaching the basic level today would be good enough. Taking his position again, Chun Tian shouted, okay, I'll start the second demonstration. Try to follow along. He breathed out sharply, unleashing another powerful routine. Several hours later, the gymnasium looked like a battlefield of exhausted teenagers. Students slumped on the floor, panting. I can't learn it all, one groaned. Another sighed. Did any of you find the trick? A student trembled on his knees, gasping for air. How can this be learned? He yelled in frustration. C-rank martial arts are just too hard. Su-hong's spiky-haired friend looked around the tired crowd. Su-hong, have you learned it? He asked. But there was only empty space beside him. He blinked. Huh, where did he go? Suddenly, an energetic shout pierced the gloom. Haha, I successfully reached the basic level. Chun Shan cheered, punching the air with a faint crackle of energy. The spiky-haired friend watched in disbelief, thinking, no wonder everyone says he is a genius. How? This is brain-built. Old Lee said, that's our school's #1 genius named Chun Shan. Are you interested in guiding him? Chun Tian replied, this considered genius? In other cities, this is just passing level. Meanwhile, outside the gymnasium, Old Lee and Chun Tian walked down the concrete steps of the school campus. Chun Tian shook his head in disappointment. Old Lee, your batch of students just isn't good, he complained. You made me come here for nothing. Old Lee sighed and replied, having even one student reach the basic level is good enough. Do you really expect to find a top-tier genius here? Martial Dao cultivation is extremely cruel, Chun Tian continued, his tone solemn. Talent is simply too important. Old Lee nodded in agreement, adding, yes, relying only on hard work without opportunity is absolutely impossible. Now, this is where it gets interesting. A series of rapid, thunderous booms suddenly echoed from a nearby training field. Both men stopped dead in their tracks, their eyes widening in sheer shock. In a secluded courtyard, Su-hong stood tall, his entire body crackling with blue lightning. Chun Tian gasped, 7-sound Thunder Rush Fist. Your school actually has this kind of expert. Old Lee stuttered in disbelief. Impossible. I've never heard of it. Old Lee pointed a shaking finger. Look at those clothes, he whispered. It's a student. As Su-hong unleashed a devastating, lightning-infused strike, Chun Tian looked like he had seen a ghost. He thought in disbelief, I only taught for half a day, and a student already reached the mastered level? But the shock wasn't over. More rapid cracks of thunder ripped through the air. Old Lee grabbed the fence, practically yelling, 9 sounds? Did I hear wrong? Old Chun, 9 sounds. He looked over at Chun Tian, who was trembling uncontrollably. Old Chun, what is wrong with you? Chun Tian's eyes were locked onto Su-hong's flowing movements. A manic smile crept across his face as he whispered, I understand. I understand everything now. Chun Tian clenched his fist, and thick, golden-orange lightning immediately surged around his knuckles. Stepping into a fierce stance, Chun Tian roared, thunder rush fist, and threw a massive strike that tore through the wind. 8 distinct, deafening booms followed. Oldie jumped back, amazed. 8 sounds. Old Chun, you finally broke through. Breathing heavily, Chun Tian smiled. It was the boy's thunder rush fist just now that gave me the inspiration. Otherwise, I might never have broken through in this lifetime. Realizing what they had just witnessed, Chun Tian sprinted forward. Now is not the time to talk about this, he shouted. Quickly, go see who that student is. They dashed onto the field, panting, only to find empty air. The mysterious student was already gone. Where did he go? Chun Tian muttered, looking around the empty schoolyard. Meanwhile, Su Hong was already walking casually down a sunset-lit street, rubbing his sore shoulder. He thought, I didn't expect cultivating a C-rank martial skill to be this tiring. It far exceeds the D-rank Vajra fist. A blue holographic interface appeared before his eyes, displaying his newly mastered, Perfect Realm Thunder Rush fist. My technique is already perfect, he muttered to himself. Next, I need to think of a way to earn martial values, and strive to become a true martial artisan. He paused, wondering, if I don't engage in a life-and-death battle like last time, but just find someone to spar normally, can I still obtain martial values? Following his plan, Su Hong arrived at a massive, traditional gate. The sign read, Raging Thunder Dojo. I've arrived, he whispered. It's here. Inside the dojo, multiple students were practicing. One student asked, Su Hong, why did you come today? Su Hong replied, nothing much. Today just came over to practice. Inside the dojo, the atmosphere was tense. A young man with messy purple hair, Li Yin, ruthlessly stomped a defeated student into the floorboards with a heavy thud. Li Yin glared down with pure arrogance. Dare to say my teacher teaches badly, he sneered. If your comprehension is poor, just admit it. Why make excuses here? Su Hong turned to a nearby student and asked, what's the situation over there? The student sighed. You haven't been here lately, so you don't know. His teacher is a newly arrived instructor. He is very strong, but he looks down on commoners like us and teaches classes very perfunctorily. In the background, Li Yin lifted another struggling student by the collar. The student beside Su Hong winced and added, and his disciple, this guy named Li Yin, is also very strong. With a mocking grin, he lunged forward, throwing a rapid punch. With your level, you dare to challenge me? But his fist never landed. With a swift motion, Su Hong's hand clamped down on Li Yan's wrist like a steel vise. Su Hong stared at him with cold, calm eyes. Let's stop here, friend, he warned evenly. Li Yan struggled, his face twisting in anger. Who are you? Let go of me, he demanded. If you have guts, get in the arena and fight me one-on-one. Su Hong released his grip and replied coolly, fine, I'll oblige. Before they could step into the ring, the heavy wooden doors swung open. A stern man in a dark suit strode in, commanding the room. What's with all the noise? The new instructor snapped. Class is starting. Li Yan rubbed his wrist and backed away, glaring at Su Hong. You're lucky, he muttered bitterly. Su Hong just watched him go, thinking to himself, this guy's a bit too arrogant. The suited instructor picked up a long spear and stood before the gathered students. Today is the last day. I'm teaching you the Raging Sea Spear technique, he announced coldly. Old rule. I only perform it once. Without waiting for them to ready themselves, the instructor launched into a rapid, sweeping motion, the spear blade cutting fiercely through the air. As he moved, the instructor thought with a dismissive scoff, demonstrating it just once. I don't believe any of you peasants can learn it. But here's the catch. In the crowd, Su Hong stood perfectly still, his bright blue eyes locked onto the weapon. His mind raced, analyzing every shift in weight, every subtle flick of the instructor's wrists. The entire sequence reflected perfectly in his pupils. With a sharp thud, the instructor slammed the base of the spear onto the wooden floor. He turned his back on the class and began to walk away. All right, he said dismissively. How much you learn depends entirely on yourselves. The hall immediately broke into chaotic whispers. Demonstrating only once? That's too much of a scam, a student complained bitterly. Another added. The back row couldn't see the demonstration clearly at all. Ignoring the complaints around him, Su Hong gripped his own spear. The movements burned in his memory. The core of this spear technique, he analyzed internally, is that the spear must move like a flood dragon treading the sea. The momentum must feel like endless, giant waves. He closed his eyes, and with a swift, sliding motion, he began to spin the shaft. A sudden surge of energy erupted from him. Beautiful, water-like currents formed around the blade as Su Hong stepped forward and executed a flawless, powerful thrust. The entire dojo went dead silent, then erupted in shock. Holy nonsense! Su Hong seems to have actually learned it, one student gasped. Another stared in absolute awe. What kind of martial arts prodigy is this guy? Someone murmured sadly. Are we really just too stupid to learn it? The commotion drew Li Yin back in. He violently threw the doors open, shouting, What are you all making noise for? Who learned it? As if you guys could actually learn it. The moment the words left his mouth, a sharp gust of wind blasted his face. Su Hong's spear halted just inches from Li Yan's nose, humming with energy. Li Yan's arrogant smirk vanished. This guy, Li Yan thought, his eyes narrowing, seems to have really learned it. I need to test his depth. It would actually be interesting if he's really a genius. Stepping into the room, Li Yan snatched a training spear from the rack. Hey, kid, Li Yan called out, feigning politeness. I'll give your spear technique some pointers. The surrounding students quickly scrambled backward, forming a wide circle around the two fighters. Su Hong simply nodded and replied, okay. The student beside Su Hong leaned in nervously. Su Hong, he warned, although his character is terrible, his strength is very high. Please don't be impulsive. Su Hong didn't take his eyes off Li Yan. Don't worry, he replied calmly. Su Hong lowered his stance, the wooden shaft resting firmly against his side. Please, enlighten me, he challenged. Li Yan lunged forward like a viper, his spear glowing with intense energy. Kid, you're arrogant. Li Yan roared. Watch the true raging sea spear technique. Micro level. With a heavy crash of force, Li Yan's attack descended. But Su Hong merely sighed, his eyes closing for a fraction of a second as he effortlessly parried the blow. A massive wave of blue, liquid energy exploded outward. Su Hong swung his spear with devastating momentum, shouting, Raging sea spear technique, proficient level. The sheer force of the resulting wave blew Li Yan backward. His purple eyes went wide with absolute terror as he struggled to maintain his footing. How is that even possible? Li Yan panicked internally. He reached the proficient level just from watching it once. Su Hong lunged forward, the spear cutting through the air, trailing a vibrant blue aura. He announced internally, Raging sea spear technique proficient. The heavy weapons clashed with a resounding crack, scattering bright sparks and waves of intense energy across the room. The sheer force threw Li Yan off balance. He stared in absolute disbelief, thinking, he's not even a martial artist yet. How did he reach the proficient stage so quickly? Su Hong's eyes flared with a fierce golden light, locking onto his opponent with predator-like focus. With a heavy thrust, he drove the blunt end of his spear straight into Li Yan's defenses, sending a powerful shockwave outward. As the dust settled, a glowing blue panel appeared before Su Hong. He had earned 35 martial points. He smiled to himself, thinking just as I thought. I can earn martial points through standard sparring matches. I should definitely find more people to spar with from now on. Meanwhile, Li Yan collapsed to his knees, his spear abandoned on the floor. He gasped, impossible. There's no way to master the raging sea spear technique to the proficient stage so quickly. His purple eyes widened with manic frustration. He gritted his teeth, thinking, then all my years of... He completely snapped, lunging wildly at Su Hong with bare fists. He screamed, then what was the point of all my years of hard training? Su Hong barely blinked. Suddenly, a firm voice echoed through the room, shouting, enough. Stop. Li Yan froze in his tracks, trembling. He looked up at the stern, suited man who had just caught his fist, whispering nervously, Instructor. With a sharp crack, the instructor slapped Li Yan across the face, barking, if you can't even face defeat, what kind of martial artist are you? Li Yan stumbled back, clutching his stinging cheek, utterly humiliated. The instructor turned his gaze to Su Hong, his mind racing. He thought, he watched me demonstrate it just once, yet he's already mastered the raging sea spear technique to the proficient stage. Even the geniuses in a magic city or the imperial capital aren't this exaggerated. Deciding to smooth things over, the instructor forcefully pushed Li Yan's head into a bow. He smiled politely and said, young brother, please forgive my lack of strict discipline over him. Li Yan has talent, but he's too arrogant. Taking a hit from a genius like this will do him some good. Su Hong's sweat dropped, staring at the sudden shift in attitude. He thought, this guy, he sure changes his tune fast. Later that evening, Su Hong walked home through the quiet city streets. He stretched his tired shoulders, thinking, man, today wore me out. But the haul was entirely worth it. He brought up his glowing status panel. He grinned, noting, not only did I learn the thunderclap fist and raging sea spear technique, but I also earned more martial points. As he passed by Star City High School, his expression turned serious. The school exams are in a few days, he realized. The rich students have all prepared high-grade alloy weapons. I need to get a weapon ready for the exams, too. He envisioned a sleek, glowing spear and its massive 69,800 price tag. He sighed, but with the little money I have, it's not even enough for Auntie's medical bills, let alone an alloy weapon. Shoulders slumped, he dragged his feet past a bright storefront, muttering, is there any other way to make money? Suddenly, a glowing digital display caught his eye. The announcer declared, the number of ferocious beasts in the Star City wilderness is increasing. The city lord is recruiting martial artists to hunt them. Generous rewards. Su Hong's blue eyes lit up with renewed hope. Hunt beasts outside the city, he pondered. Shortly after, he arrived at his modest apartment building under the starry night sky. Inside, his aunt was tending to his uncle, who was covered in medical patches. She scolded him gently. Look at you. Didn't little Hong give us a sum of money last time? Why are you still working yourself so hard? His uncle replied softly, little Hong is still young. It's not right to put the burden of our livelihood entirely on him. I have to save up for the kids while I'm still able to work. Su-hong stepped through the doorway, calling out, Uncle Annie, I'm home. They greeted him warmly. Little Hong, you're back. He immediately walked over and took the medical patch from his aunt. She shook her head with a smile, saying, Oh, you child. I told you to rest when you get home. Su-hong stepped behind his uncle and carefully applied a medical patch to his shoulder. Uncle, I can make money now, he insisted. You shouldn't work part-time anymore. Just stay home and take care of Annie. His uncle chuckled. Okay, but I can't just sit around doing nothing. Giving a reassuring thumbs up, his uncle added, Don't worry. I'm just earning a little for daily expenses. I won't push myself. His aunt looked at him with gentle, crinkled eyes. Little Hong, your martial arts training will cost a lot in the future. We want to save as much as we can for you. Su-hong tightened his grip on medical patch. He thought affectionately, Uncle and Annie are used to being poor. Unless I earn enough money to last a lifetime, they won't feel safe enough to retire and focus on their health. His expression hardened with resolve as he stared into the night. I can't let this beast-hunting bounty opportunity slip by, he vowed. Sitting alone on a rooftop, Su-hong pulled up his system interface. But the wilderness is dangerous, he muttered. To be safe, I should raise my strength as much as possible first. I'll dump all the martial points I just got into vitality. A cascade of green notifications flooded his screen. A fiery red aura erupted around his body, his muscles surging with newfound power. He let out a long breath, noting 95.2 vitality. I'm only one step away from becoming a martial artist. 2 grueling days later, in the dead of night, Su-hong lay sprawled on the gymnasium floor, drenched in sweat. Surrounding him were glowing panels confirming his absolute mastery. Panting heavily, he thought, It took 2 whole days, but I've finally raised all my martial arts to the perfection stage. Now this is where it gets interesting. He pushed himself off the floor, his blue eyes sharp and ready. Preparations complete, he whispered. It's time to head out. By Saturday morning, Su-hong stood before the colossal, fortress-like walls of the Star City martial artist base. He wiped his brow and complained, Finally made it. This place is way too far. He walked through the towering archways, looking around in awe. I've seen it on TV a million times, but this is my first time actually visiting the martial artist base, he thought. The courtyard was absolutely packed with heavily armed warriors, carrying massive axes, spears, and greatswords. He noted, martial artists are usually rare sights, but here, they're everywhere. Flipping through a bounty booklet, Su-hong read the payout rates. Unranked ferocious beasts are 300 blue star coins each. Tier 1 initial stage is 1,000. Middle stage is 3,000. High stage is 5,000. But here's the catch. He read the fine print, and his face instantly scrunched up in disgust. After taking down a beast, the left ear must be removed as proof. Otherwise, no payout. He shivered, muttering, Good grief, that's primitive. Looking over, he spotted a rugged hunter slamming a dripping, heavy sack onto the settlement counter, flirting with the clerk. Hey, beautiful, tally this up for me. Su-hong grimaced, thinking, that bag must be full of left ears. Suddenly, a commotion broke out. A group of burly men shoved through the crowd, barking, Make way, everyone make way. A heavily armored guard bellowed. Don't you see young Master Yi is here? Leading the pack was a smug, blonde-haired young man in a stylish yellow coat, walking like he owned the place. Looking at him, Su-hong thought, that outfit and aura. Why does he remind me of White Fox from Underground Arena? The crowd muttered in disdain. One hunter whispered, What a poser. If his uncle weren't the base director, I'd have smacked him long ago. Another snickered. I heard he got his ass kicked a few days ago. Serve him right. For real? Another replied. No wonder we haven't seen him lately. Completely oblivious to the whispers, young master, you just flashed an arrogant smirk, soaking in the attention. Su-hong watched the spectacle quietly, his expression stoic and calculating. Turning away from the drama, he walked toward the exit tunnel. He reminded himself, it's not just the beasts that are dangerous out here. The humans are too. I need to be extra careful. At the massive steel gates, the official guard checked his pass. The man raised an eyebrow, asking, You're so young. First time? Going into the wild alone? Su-hong simply said, Yeah. As Su-hong disappeared down the long, dark tunnel, the guard let out a heavy sigh. He thought to himself, another ignorant, fearless brat. Su-hong's heavy boot finally stepped off the concrete and onto the untamed grass. He emerged into a breathtaking, sunlight-dappled forest, towering trees stretching as far as the eye could see. He rolled up his sleeves, a fire igniting in his chest. I will return with a full haul, he declared. However, 2 excruciating hours later, he was leaning against a tree, chugging from his water bottle. Looking around in confusion, he wondered, I haven't seen a single beast. Have all the ones in the outer forest been killed off already? Pushing off the tree, he dashed further into the dense foliage, deciding, let's check deeper in. Suddenly, a sharp rustling sound echoed through the bushes. Su-hong slid to a halt, his instincts flaring. From the shadows emerged a massive, terrifying creature. It was a giant wolf with stark white fur and glowing, blood-red eyes, snarling as it blocked his path. Su-hong crouched into a fighting stance, his heart pounding. That looks like the Tier 1 initial stage beast from the textbooks, he thought. The nether moon wolf. First time seeing a live one. The colossal beast opened its jaws, unleashing a deafening, bone-chilling roar into the air. With a powerful leap, the nether moon wolf launched itself straight at Su Hong, its deadly claws outstretched for the kill. The massive nether moon wolf lunged forward, its sharp claws slashing violently through the air. Su Hong barely ducked in time, the beast's giant frame flying right over him with a sudden whoosh. Golden lightning crackled fiercely around his fist, the sheer power illuminating the dark forest. He roared, thunderclap fist, driving his glowing hand right into the wolf's side with a devastating impact. The beast was sent spiraling backwards, crashing into a thick tree with a heavy, sickening thud. Standing over the defeated creature, golden energy still rolling off his arm, Su Hong let out a long breath. His hands trembled slightly, but a wide smirk spread across his face. He thought, is this what fighting a monster feels like? It's even more exciting than I imagined. Brimming with newfound confidence, he clenched his fist. I can take down a rank 1 early-stage beast in a single move now, he muttered. I wonder how I'd fare against a mid-stage one. Well, speak of the devil. A towering, furious, raging black bear suddenly loomed before him, roaring with pure hostility. But in the blink of an eye, the giant bear was completely grounded, defeated by a single crushing blow. Su Hong stood proudly over the fallen giant. He noted to himself, it seems with my current strength, as long as I don't provoke a rank 2 beast, I won't face much danger. He knelt down, expertly harvesting the valuable parts. $3,000 in the bag, he cheered internally. A system notification appeared in front of him, saying, martial points are sufficient to break through to martial artist. Su Hong got happy thinking, finally I can break through to martial artist. Suddenly, a deafening shriek pierced the air. The sheer volume of it made Su Hong flinch, sweat immediately beading on his forehead. He peeked out from behind a tree, his eyes widening. He thought, such an intense aura. What kind of ferocious beast is that? Curious but cautious, he leaped forward, moving swiftly through the dense forest. Let's go take a look, he murmured. Reaching a high vantage point, he crouched on a boulder. His eyes widened in disbelief as the shadows parted. This is, he gasped. A colossal, armored serpent loomed below. He identified it instantly. A rank 1 late-stage beast, the black jade giant python. But here's the catch. He wasn't the only one there. 2 other martial artists were currently getting absolutely obliterated by the giant snake, screaming as a massive attack threw them backwards. One of the fighters crashed hard into a stone wall, sending debris flying in a chaotic blast. Su Hong watched from above, analyzing the dire situation. The python reared back, its purple aura flaring violently as it prepared to finish off the stragglers. Su Hong didn't hesitate. He moved back from the chaos. With a terrifying sweep, the serpent's heavy tail whipped through the air, completely shattering the rocks nearby. Su Hong barely raised his arms in time to brace himself. So fast, he shouted as the sheer force pushed him back. The beast's tail slammed heavily onto the Su Hong, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and debris. The impact was brutal. A dark crimson stained the ground as the Su Hong coughed heavily, completely unable to continue. Su Hong wiped his mouth, dropping to one knee next to a severely injured martial artist who had collapsed nearby. Reaching out, he firmly grabbed the fallen man's weapon. Lend me your spear, he requested calmly. Armed and ready, Su Hong stood tall. He faced the towering black jade giant python, the wind whipping around him as the beast hissed menacingly. The giant snake lunged with a terrifying roar, its massive jaws opening wide to swallow him whole. Su Hong dashed forward, the spear glinting in his hands. He calculated the odds, thinking, to defeat a rank 1 late-stage beast, you typically need a whole team working together. He lunged upward. But my martial arts have all been cultivated to perfection, he reminded himself, and I can already easily handle a mid-stage beast. He kicked off a nearby tree trunk, launching himself high into the air with incredible speed. So, right now, I have the ability to fight this python, he yelled, activating his movement technique. Void step, perfection. Spinning rapidly, a brilliant blue torrent of energy wrapped around his spear. Raging sea spear, perfection, he roared, bringing the weapon down. The glowing spear pierced straight into the beast's thick armored scales, sending out a massive shockwave of force. The python shrieked in absolute agony, throwing its massive head back as the attack landed deeply. Su Hong used the recoil to flip gracefully backward, landing safely away from the thrashing serpent. He gripped the spear tightly, adjusting his stance for the next round. This fight was far from over. Surging with azure energy, he stood his ground. The water-like aura swirled fiercely around his legs as he glared at the monster. His eyes burned with absolute determination. Again, he shouted. He unleashed another massive wave of spear energy, sending a towering pillar of light crashing directly into the python. The beast recoiled, roaring loudly as the heavy strike battered its hardened armor. But the giant snake was relentless. It whipped its massive body around, forcing Su Hong to sprint across the battlefield, dodging heavy slams that shattered the earth. Skidding to a halt, He quickly assessed the situation. Our size difference is too massive, he thought. It's hard to deal a fatal blow. He narrowly avoided another sweeping attack, the sheer force of the air rushing past his face. Channeling his power once more, he switched tactics. Thunderclap fist, perfection, he shouted, lightning exploding from his form. He struck hard and immediately flipped away. After the attack lands, I need to immediately put distance between me and the python, he strategized. Landing smoothly, he stared the furious beast down. Find an opening, attack again, and then quickly disengage. The constant hit-and-run tactics were taking a toll. Su-hong huffed heavily, his chest heaving. Fighting like this is exhausting, he muttered, but at least it's safe. He looked up. The giant python was trembling, its movements growing visibly sluggish. It looks like it's reaching its limit too, Su-hong noted. Just a few more rounds of circling, and I'll take it down. Reinvigorated, he swung his spear and charged forward. Bring it on, he roared. Suddenly, the hair on the back of his neck stood up. A chilling, dangerous presence loomed right behind him. He glanced back, his eyes widening in pure shock. Who was that? He gasped. Now this is interesting. A massive man wearing a terrifying red-eyed mask was lunging at him from mid-air, laughing menacingly. The attacker's fist glowed with intense, fiery heat. Su-hong barely had a second to raise his arms in defense. The impact was devastating. Su-hong was sent rocketing across the ground, his spear flying from his grasp as he crashed hard into the dirt. He coughed heavily, struggling to push himself up on his hands and knees. The sudden, brutal ambush left his head spinning. Trembling slightly, he glared up at the approaching figures. Who are you people? He demanded, anger flaring in his chest. Out from the shadows stepped young Master Yi, flanked by his thugs and the masked giant. Yi smirked with sheer arrogance. We meet again, he mocked. How about you give this black jade giant python to me? Su-hong dropped to one knee, panting heavily. The exhaustion was real, but rest wasn't on the menu, because standing right in front of him was young Master Yi and his entire entourage of lackeys. Yi smirked, his tone dripping with arrogance. He said, When I saw you daring to leave the city alone, I thought for sure you would meet your end out here. He glanced over at the massive beast thrashing weakly. I didn't expect your luck to be this good. Not only are you still standing, but you also magically found a critically injured black jade giant python, right on the verge of defeat. Su-hong narrowed his eyes, clearly annoyed. He thought to himself, he claims I found the snake? That implies they just arrived. But all 5 of them are martial artists. They have the numbers advantage. I can't fight them head-on. Suddenly, the giant masked enforcer charged forward with a heavy thud. Kid, didn't you hear young Master Yi? The brute shouted. He wants this giant python. Why haven't you scrammed yet? Su-hong clenched his jaw, his patience completely evaporating. Lightning crackled fiercely around his fist as he glared at the giant. You only pushed me back earlier because of a sneak attack, Su-hong growled. Do you really think I can't beat you people? With a devastating roar of energy, their fists collided. Su-hong unleashed his full power straight into the enforcer's guard. The giant staggered back, shock radiating from behind his mask. He trembled, thinking what? Such terrifying power. Su-hong didn't give him a single second to breathe. With a fierce slam, he drove the massive brute straight into the dirt. The enforcer hit the ground with a heavy thud, completely knocked out. The rest of Ye's crew stood there in stunned silence. Ye's eyes widened in recognition as he recalled a past encounter. Excellent Vajra fist. He noted softly. Sure enough, it is you, the Minotaur. Su-hong stared back, piecing the puzzle together. He thought, wait, White Fox. He chuckled, waving a hand dramatically in front of his face. You're the first person to bring me such humiliation in front of so many people. His smug smile vanished, replaced by a cold glare. Take him down, he ordered. The 3 remaining lackeys immediately lunged forward. Knowing better than to fight a gang out in the open, Su-hong grabbed his weapon and dashed toward the tree line with a swift whoosh. Chase him, one of the thugs yelled. They rushed into the dense forest, weapons drawn. The thug with the oversized sword warned the others. The woods ahead are dense. It's easy to get ambushed, so everyone be careful. But the guy in the red jacket scoffed. There are so many of us, he sneered. Are we actually afraid of one man? Famous last words. In a split second, Su-hong blurred right past him like a phantom. Su-hong's eye gleamed with icy resolve. The thug barely had time to register the immense danger. With a thunderous crash, a devastating blow landed right behind young Master Yi, kicking up a massive storm of dirt and leaves. When the dust settled, the red-jacketed thug was out cold on the ground, effectively eliminated from the equation. Young Master Yi gritted his teeth, a bead of sweat rolling down his face. He thought in panic, damn it, how is this guy so fast? The heavy sword wielder stepped back in sheer terror. Young Master Yi, he yelled. It's the Thunderclap Fist. 9 Echo, Thunderclap Fist. Even rank 3 martial artists can't train that to perfection. Yi snapped, shut up. But his own mind was racing in denial. Perfection Vajra Fist. Perfection Thunderclap Fist. How is this even possible? Up in the canopy, Su-hong watched them from a sturdy branch, calmly gripping his spear. He thought, if I hadn't just tangled with the giant python and consumed so much vitality, I could have crushed them head-on. Now, he concluded, leaping from the tree with a sharp whistle of wind, I can only look for opportunities to defeat them one by one. His spear landed right behind the trio with a heavy impact, taking them completely by surprise. Su Hong lunged forward toward the heavy sword wielder. Before the heavy sword wielder could even turn, Su Hong delivered a crushing flying kick straight to his head. The sheer force of the impact sent the thug flying right past Yi and the remaining lackey, crashing heavily into the ground. The last standing lackey completely lost his nerve. Young Master Yi, that kid is too strong. Let's get out of here, he begged. Yi glared at him. Run? Are you kidding me? In a fit of arrogance and rage, Yi shouted, I must end him today. But Su Hong dashed right behind the lackey. With a fierce stomp, Su Hong drove the unfortunate lackey into the dirt, clearing his path straight to the final boss. He was livid, sweat pouring down his face. He thought, damn it, it's only been a few days. How did this kid get so much stronger? Suddenly, Su Hong burst from the foliage behind him with terrifying speed. He spun around, swinging a glowing strike through the air, but he hit nothing but falling leaves. Damn it, he cursed. High above, Su Hong descended like a hawk. He thought, finally, it's your turn. Yi looked up, his hand crackling with intense blue energy. Don't think you've got me beat, he roared, firing a devastating beam upward. Su Hong met the attack head-on. Void-shattering finger, Yi shouted, Su Hong's own strike colliding directly with Ye's energy. With a brilliant flash of light, the sheer force of the collision rippled violently through the air. The deflected energy slammed into a massive tree behind them, blowing the trunk apart in a thunderous explosion. Yi totally lost it. He started rapid-firing blue energy blasts in every direction. Void-shattering finger, he screamed, tearing the forest apart. Su Hong dodged gracefully, his expression serious. He thought, such power? This martial skills level isn't low. Is it Class B? Breathing heavily, Yi pointed a glowing finger at Su Hong. Stinking brat. I've memorized your face, he threatened venomously. If you dare hurt me, once I get back, I will definitely destroy your whole family. A dangerous silence fell over the woods. Su Hong's eye glowed with an absolute, terrifying fury. Destroy my whole family, he repeated, his voice chillingly calm. That was the wrong button to push. Su Hong launched himself forward, a comet of pure rage. Seeing the absolute intensity in Su Hong's eyes, Yi finally panicked. My uncle is a supervisor at the martial artist base. My father is. He didn't get to finish. Su Hong was already in his face, moving faster than Yi could comprehend. Su Hong pulled back a fist enveloped in fiery lightning. I liked you better when you were acting all high and mighty just now, he said coldly. With a devastating crunch, Su Hong's fist connected squarely with Ye's face. But he wasn't done. He immediately followed up with a brutal, sweeping strike that sent Yi hurtling backward. Yi crashed violently into the rocky ground, throwing up a massive cloud of dust and debris. The dust swirled as Su Hong slowly, methodically, stepped toward the crater. He stood there, glowing ominously with a fiery aura. You shouldn't have used my family to threaten me, he stated, his voice echoing with finality. He crawled on the ground, completely battered and coughing weakly. Why are you so strong? He gasped in disbelief. This is impossible. You're clearly not even a martial artist. What exactly are you? Ye spit it. But here's the catch. Su Hong wasn't the only monster in the area. Rising from the shadows right behind the broken young master was the towering black jade giant python. Ye's eyes widened in sheer, absolute horror. With a deafening crash, the python's massive tail slammed down right where Yi was. Su Hong ready to spear, bracing himself against the roaring wind generated by the giant snake. I spent too much time fighting them, he realized. This giant python, it actually recovered its stamina. Meanwhile, young Master Ye's lackeys were completely lost in the woods. One of them grumbled, curse it, that kid is too weird. Another asked, where is young Master Yi? Did he finish that kid off? A masked thug suddenly turned, hearing a sharp rustle in the leaves. Su Hong burst from the underbrush, spear in hand. The thug shouted, Brat, you finally came out. I won't spare you. As Su Hong charged forward, yelling move, looming right behind Su Hong was the colossal black jade giant python. The thugs froze in pure terror. With a swift leap, Su Hong vaulted out of the way. The massive snake slammed into the thugs, sending them flying. Su Hong smirked as his system chimed, granting him 30 martial value for indirectly eliminating an opponent. Another thug was sent crashing into a tree. Su Hong thought to himself, I didn't expect to gain martial value this way too. He cast a quick glance back, assessing the chaotic scene. Gripping his spear, he bounded away through the trees. He realized, after going through so many battles, my martial value is high enough for me to break through and become a true martial artist. The python was relentless, snapping its massive jaws just inches from his boots as it demolished the forest. Su Hong dodged, thinking, it would be great if I could find a safe place to break through. Spotting a dark crevice in the distance, his eyes lit up. Great, I'll choose that cave. He leaped over the edge, plummeting toward the cave entrance with the giant snake right on his tail. He landed with a heavy, earth-shaking thud, dust billowing into the air. Su-hong quickly retreated into the shadows of the cave, gripping his spear tightly as the serpent's glowing eyes pierced the darkness. With a deafening roar, the python dove straight into the narrow opening. The beast lunged forward. Su-hong calmly pulled up his system interface, watching his vitality and martial value numbers hover in the air. Faster, 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 he muttered, desperately tapping the air to dump his points into his stats. Instantly, a blazing red aura erupted around him. He gritted his teeth, exclaiming, "Vitality is surging. My whole body is so hot. It feels like it's not fluid flowing in my veins, but pure magma." A soft chime echoed in his mind as his vitality maxed out at 100. The python snapped its fangs, ready to devour him in one bite. But Su-hong stood tall, entirely engulfed in fiery energy. He declared, "I have finally become a real martial artist." The python instinctively shrank back from the intense heat. Su-hong clenched his fist, glaring at the beast. "Next, it's my turn." The massive snake whipped its heavy tail, striking with terrifying speed. Su-hong unleashed a blinding golden beam of energy, roaring fiercely into the sky. The creature's eyes locked onto him, radiating absolute malice. Unfazed, Su-hong launched himself forward. "Vajra fist," he shouted, his hand glowing with immense power. He leaped completely over the beast's sweeping strike, aiming directly for its massive head. The impact triggered a massive shockwave of red lightning, pushing the heavy serpent back. Su-hong bit his lip, feeling the intense recoil. "Fisk," he hissed. His grip on his weapon tightened until his knuckles turned white. He commanded, "Get down." He slammed a concentrated burst of brilliant blue energy right onto the monster's snout. The python shrieked as explosive energy cascaded over its dark scales. Pushing his advantage, Su-hong yelled, "Thunder Rush Fist." A brilliant flash of golden lightning erupted from his fist, striking with the force of a falling meteor. The giant snake's head was smashed violently into the ground, creating a massive crater. Thick clouds of dust and debris completely swallowed the battlefield. When the dust settled, Su-hong stood triumphantly atop the motionless python. "Although the giant python was already heavily injured, I can actually confront its attacks head-on now," he observed, watching his martial value increase once again. He pulled out a small knife, looking utterly confused. "By the way, hunting ferocious beasts requires cutting off the left ear to exchange for money. But snakes don't have ears. What should I do?" Shaking his head, he sighed, "Forget it, let's just hurry back." As he hiked back through the rocky gorge, he noticed a motionless figure lying on the ground. He approached cautiously, his spear ready. It was young Master Yi, completely defeated. Su-hong scoffed, "Ending up like this, you got off easy." Crouching down, he began to search the man's pockets. He thought, "I wonder if I can find that high-level martial technique he used." His eyes widened as he pulled out a small, worn book. "Void-breaking finger," he read aloud. Later that night, a warm campfire flickered near the massive remains of the giant python. Su-hong had safely sealed the cave entrance with heavy boulders. Sitting by the fire, he closed the manual. "I have already memorized the entire introductory cultivation method for the void-breaking finger. Next is to use the system to master it quickly." He entered the system space, summoning his glowing holographic clone. "Come on," he challenged. The clone instantly fired a sharp beam of energy, narrowly missing Su-hong's face. Su-hong dodged and countered, yelling, "Void-breaking finger!" As he relentlessly practiced the technique, his mastery percentage rapidly climbing. He focused all his energy into his fingertip, a bright blue light piercing the forehead of the clone. Suddenly, he dropped to his knees, coughing heavily. As expected of a B-rank martial skill, he muttered, wiping his mouth. "Just learning it to the basic realm brings me this much pressure. I need to go find a monster to test its power." 3 days later, a massive raging black bear lunged at him with a terrifying howl. Su-hong didn't even flinch. He calmly extended his hand. "Void-breaking finger," he stated as a concentrated beam of energy blasted right through the beast, ending the threat instantly. He stared at his glowing hand. Finally reached the perfect realm. This power is truly worthy of a B-rank martial skill. He packed his bags and smiled. It's time to go back. He soon arrived at the massive, fortified walls of the martial artist base. Inside, the market was bustling. The Thunder Squad was showing off their loot. A bald man laughed. "Holy nonsense. A total of 230,000. Your Thunder Squad is really fierce. This harvest matches my struggles for several months." Another chimed in, "Awesome. Not a single non-ranked, ferocious beast. All are tier 1. There are even a few high-stage ones." Su-hong stepped up to the counter and dropped a massive, bulging sack. The receptionist was completely stunned. She stammered out, 72 tier 1 initial stage. Total 406,000 blue star coins." Everyone's jaw hit the floor. Suddenly, a frantic shout echoed through the plaza outside the main building. The crowd murmured in confusion. What the hell? The base was attacked? How is that possible? There are many high-level martial artists there. Supervisor Yi Chi stormed out, looking absolutely furious. He barked at his men, Blockade the base for me. Don't let a single fly escape. His guards instantly replied, "Yes, sir." A staff member nervously approached him, asking, "Supervisor Yi, what happened?" Yi Chi's face contorted with rage as he screamed, "My nephew Yi Feng, and the 4 martial artists with him, are all dead." The crowd was in shock. Yi Feng was actually taken down by someone, and a group of 5 wiped out. But secretly, people were thrilled. One guy whispered, "Good riddance. Who among us hasn't been robbed by Yi Feng? If not for considering his identity, I would have ended him long ago." Another agreed, "This scourge has finally been dealt with." Yi Chi marched through the crowd, declaring, "A B-rank martial skill on Yi Feng's body is missing. All martial artists must be body searched. Clear suspicion before they can leave." Su Hong stood quietly in the back, thinking, looking at the corpses, it's clear they were crushed by the giant python. It shouldn't be traced back to me. As he waited in line, he noticed Yi Chi and his men walking directly toward his area. Su Hong narrowed his eyes. Could be they are targeting me, he thought. The crowd immediately scattered, leaving Su Hong standing entirely alone as Supervisor Yi approached him. Yi Chi's eyes glowed with a terrifying, dark intent. He sneered, "Little brother, I heard you eliminated ferocious beasts worth 400,000 alone. Your skills are amazing." The receptionist eyed him up and down, clearly unimpressed. She muttered, "He looks like a rank 1 early stage at best. How could he possibly end that many beasts?" The bodyguard next to her chimed in, demanding, "He must have scavenged young Master Ye's pack. Search him now." The bodyguard stepped forward, their fists igniting with blazing, fiery energy. One of them threatened, "Don't resist, kid, or things are going to get ugly." But Su Hong wasn't about to just stand there. With a sharp whoosh, he drew his spear, moving so fast it was just a blur. The blade stopped inches from the bodyguard's throat. The guard stuttered in panic. "What are you doing?" His partner broke out in a cold sweat, thinking, I couldn't even track how fast he drew that spear. Unfazed, Su Hong stared right back at them. He stated calmly, "I'm a student at Star City High No. 1. You really want to search me?" Yi Chi narrowed his eyes, clearly weighing his options. He thought to himself, the principal of No. 1 is notoriously protective of his students. He's not someone you want to mess with, but this kid is highly suspicious. He finally held up a hand, stopping his men. He thought, if he really did hunt all those beasts, he's a genius. If we're wrong and end up offending him, it won't be worth the trouble. Getting close to Su Hong, he said, "My nephew was attacked, and our family's secret technique was stolen. I have to find the culprit. I hope you'll cooperate." Su Hong replied, "I just hope you aren't accusing the wrong person." Yi Chi looked at Su Hong with dark eyes and said, "TLL give you 10,000 as compensation for the search. How's that?" Su Hong raised 3 fingers and said 30,000, and thought, Yi Feng was killed by a giant python. As long as they don't find a technique on me, they can't pin it on me. Su Hong spread his arms willingly. "Search carefully," he demanded. "I don't want any false accusations hanging over me." The guard patted him down, but came up empty. "Nothing there," he reported. Yi Chi sighed, waving his hand. "All right, give him the 30,000 and let him go." Now, this is where it gets interesting. Walking away, Su Hong secretly thought, good thing I cleaned everything up, or I'd be in deep trouble today. Behind him, Yi Chi barked orders to keep searching the others. Meanwhile, Su Hong slung his spear over his shoulder. He planned his next moves, thinking, I'll go shower and change, then head to the Martial Artist Association to register for the assessment. I need to get my hands on a guidance technique as soon as possible. Later, in the quiet solitude of his underground hotel room, Su Hong sat cross-legged on his bed, pulling up his system interface. He stared at the glowing blue screen in disbelief. 534 martial points? That much? He wondered. I've been so focused on training the void-shattering finger and hunting beasts these last few days, I haven't had a chance to use them. He visualized the power gap. An early-stage rank 1 had 100 vitality, while a mid-stage needed 200. He did the math. If I dump all my martial points into vitality, I can raise it by 53.4. I'd only be about 40 points away from mid-stage. But then he hesitated. But I haven't upgraded spirit or mortal frame yet. I wonder what effects they have. He smirked. I have plenty of points anyway. Let's see what happens. He raised his spirit. Many blue notifications surrounded him. He thought, I don't really feel any different after raising my spirit. But after increasing points in mortal frame, he felt it and said, the strength increase is obvious. Let's add some more. With a quick tap, the numbers on his holographic screen flickered and updated instantly. That's enough for mortal frame, he muttered. I'll put 200 martial points into vitality and dump the rest into spirit. Instantly, a massive surge of red energy erupted around him. His muscles bulged, and the sheer force of it cracked the air. He gritted his teeth, thinking, it feels like I have an endless supply of power welling up inside me. The intense crimson storm slowly faded, drawing back into his body until everything returned to a calm silence. He let out a long sigh of relief, slumping slightly. Phew, glad I'm back to normal, he chuckled. I wouldn't know how to explain it to people if I stayed stuck in that crazy muscle-bound form. An hour later, Su Hong arrived at the towering Star City Martial Artist Association building, shining brightly under the afternoon sun. Walking up to the front desk, he spoke to the receptionist. Hello, I'm here for the martial artist assessment. She smiled politely and replied, all right, a staff member will take you there shortly. A staff member led him down a bright hallway. She glanced back at him, asking, you're quite young, sir. Is this your first time taking the assessment? She added, to pass as a rank 1 martial artist, your vitality needs to be at least 100 and your combat power over 1,000. Good luck. Suhon nodded. Thanks. The other candidates whispered as he walked by. One scoffed, that kid came alone? He doesn't even have a master with him. Another muttered, he's probably just here to test the waters, given his age. Suhong ignored them, his eyes sharp and fully focused on the task ahead. Suddenly, an automated voice echoed through the massive testing hall. Funjie. Vitality 102. Combat power 992. Assessment failed. The rejected fighter slammed his fist, shouting, damn it, I was so close. The silver-haired examiner tapped his tablet and announced, Li Ming. Vitality 105. Passed. Next up is the combat power test. Li Ming stepped up to the testing machine. He took a wide stance, drawing his arm back, getting ready to strike. With a loud shout, he unleashed a powerful punch, sending a heavy gust of wind straight into the target pad. The screen flashed with a loud chime. Combat power 1,763. Passed. The crowd erupted into amazed whispers. A combat power of 1,763. He's almost at the level of a rank 1 mid-stage martial artist. One guy realized, wait, doesn't Jiang Ming from the Raging Thunder Dojo have a disciple named Li Ming? No wonder he's such a genius. Hearing this, Su Hong scratched his chin and thought, Jiang Ming's disciple? I thought his disciple was Li Yin. Just how many disciples does he have? Li Ming walked back, shooting an arrogant smirk right at Su Hong. You're next, he taunted. He laughed softly, his ego practically overflowing. I'm taking the assessment at this age because I'm a genius. You're here at the same age, but do you really think you can compare to me? Heh. But here's the catch. Moments later, Li Ming's smug face completely shattered into pure shock when he hears someone shouting, what the? Hold on, is the vitality tester broken? How is his vitality that high? The examiner announced calmly, Su Hong. Vitality 123. Passed. Li Ming gripped his head, yelling, that's impossible. Sweat dripped down Li Ming's face as he desperately tried to cope. He muttered, calm down, calm down. High vitality means nothing. Combat power is everything. Combat power is everything. The examiner called out, beginning combat power test. Su Hong stepped up to the heavy machine, perfectly calm. Su Hong took his stance, analyzing his own strength. He thought, I've advanced a martial artist and upgraded my physique. 40% of my power should be enough. But what if I go too easy and fail the requirement? His eyes sharpened as he pulled his fist back. Better use 50% just to be safe. With a devastating sonic boom, his fist collided with the heavy combat tester pad. The sheer force was so intense that the entire heavy machine screeched backwards, tearing a path across the solid floor. It slammed violently into the back wall, shattering the concrete and sending debris flying everywhere. The entire room fell into a stunned silence before erupting into absolute chaos. He sent the tester flying with one punch. That power is terrifying. Another guy gasped. Wait, he didn't use any martial arts just now, did he? The battered screen flickered to life, displaying a massive golden number. 3004. Someone screamed. The standard combat power for a rank 1 high-stage martial artist is only 3,000. I am stunned. That number, it's unimaginable. Up on the VIP balcony, the younger official gripped the railing in disbelief. Teacher, it's that kid again. He's an absolute monster. The older official rubbed his stubble, a knowing look crossing his face. Then he muttered, well, that explains it. Meanwhile, high up in the executive office, President Wu Linxian was stressed out, bathed in the afternoon sunlight. She glared at her phone, gritting her teeth. Damn it, the Yang City branch next door produced another genius. They show off every single day. If Star City doesn't produce a few geniuses soon, I'm going to lose my job. Suddenly, the door flew open. A breathless staff member rushed in, shouting, President! The staff member was practically vibrating with excitement. A rank 1 early stage. He sent the tester flying with nothing but raw physical strength. His combat power hit 3,000. The president's eyes went wide, completely stunned by the impossible news. Inside the bustling Martial Arts Association Central Hall, the air hummed with excitement, filled with the murmurs of countless martial artists. A staff member politely guided Su Hong towards the escalator. Brother Su Hong, I'll take you to the second floor to register your identity first. Then we'll collect your allowance, he offered. Su Hong nodded his thanks. But suddenly, a pair of imposing black boots blocked their path. The staff member froze as a commanding voice interrupted. You're done here. I'll handle this kid personally. It was none other than the president herself, an elegant yet intimidating blonde woman, standing tall and exuding absolute authority. Leaning in closer, she said, You're Su Hong, right? I'm the president of the Star City Martial Arts Association branch, Wu Linxian. Follow me. Su Hong nodded respectfully, though internally he was quite puzzled. He thought, This person is the president? Rumor has it she's a rank 5 martial artist. She's not quite what I imagined. Inside the luxurious president's office, warm afternoon light spilled across the spacious room. Wu Linxian settled onto her couch, crossing her legs. You're a student at Star City High number 1, right? Li Shan, that old boy. He was trying to sell me a sob story earlier. I can't believe he was hiding such a huge genius. Su Hong awkwardly asked why she brought him there, since he just needed his allowance and technique. Wu Linxian waved her hand dismissively, telling him to relax, as her subordinates were already handling the paperwork. Standing up, she declared, as for the guidance technique, I'm going to teach you personally. She then asked him what he currently understood about the subject. Su Hong tapped his chin, recalling his lessons. He explained that textbooks describe them merely as methods to absorb the spiritual energy of different attributes to strengthen oneself. Wu Linxian smiled a knowing smile. What the textbooks say isn't wrong, but guidance techniques aren't merely cultivation methods. Suddenly, a small, brilliant flame ignited right in the palm of her hand. With a sudden rush of heat, the flame engulfed her entire fist. She explained that while it strengthens the body, it also imbues attacks with the deadly lethality of the fire attribute. With a sharp wave of her arm, a massive burst of fiery energy erupted forward, illuminating the room with scorching heat. Su Hong leaned back, staring in sheer awe. Guidance techniques can be used to attack? The textbooks never taught this, he marveled. Holding up a finger, Wu Linxian listed the 7 spiritual attributes: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, and wind. She noted that for pure attack power, thunder was first, metal second, and fire third. She pulled out a sleek crystal ball, explaining that a martial artist's compatibility dictates which specific technique they can actually practice. The ball glowed a brilliant, fiery orange in her hands. The larger the glowing area, the higher the compatibility. Ordinary martial artists only have about 20 to 30%. I'm around 80%, which is considered very high, she bragged slightly. The flame vanished as she handed the orb to Su Hong, confidently stating she felt a genius like him would definitely exceed 90%. Su Hong held the cool crystal, thinking to himself that reaching 90% would be totally exaggerated, especially since she was already a rank 5 genius at 80%. But the very second he channeled his energy, a blinding red light erupted from the crystal, nearly blinding them both. Wu Linxian leaped back, her eyes wide with absolute disbelief. The sphere was practically exploding with fiery energy. It was 100% full. She grabbed Su Hong by the shoulders, shaking him violently. She stuttered, asking if he even knew what this meant. A completely overwhelmed Su Hong admitted he didn't. She yelled that he could absorb the energy without leaking a single drop. She proudly recalled how her 80% compatibility allowed her to become a rank 5 martial artist and the association president, despite losing 2/10 of the energy she absorbed. Leaning in with a fierce grin, she told him his future achievements would easily eclipse hers, marveling that a small place like Star City could produce a monster that rivaled the imperial capital. Su Hong, however, wasn't fully satisfied. He thought to himself that the fire tribute wasn't bad, but he really preferred the raw power of the thunder attribute. Suddenly, the glowing red sphere shifted. It began crackling wildly with intense, golden lightning. The room was filled with the sharp hiss and crackle of electricity. Wu Linxian just stood there, frozen like a statue, staring blankly as Su Hong knelt on the floor holding the miniature storm. President, Su Hong said cautiously, breaking the silence. My thunder attribute compatibility seems to be 100% too. Wu Linxian's mind completely short-circuited. Dual thunder and fire at 100%? She internally screamed that this kid was simply a monster. But here's the catch. It didn't stop there. A soft, howling hum of wind filled the room as the crystal turned a vibrant green. Su Hong sheepishly mentioned that wind seemed to be full too, leaving Wu Linxian trembling. A few minutes later, the once imposing president was slumped lifelessly on her couch, staring blankly at the ceiling, utterly exhausted by the sheer absurdity. She rubbed her face, whispering to herself that it wasn't right. All 7 attributes were completely full. She felt like she must be dreaming. She always considered herself a top-tier genius, a rare phoenix feather in the martial world. But when faced with an opponent who completely defied all logic, like a colossal, terrifying beast towering over the ruins of a city, she realized that only someone equally beyond common sense could possibly defeat such a nightmare. In her mind, a silhouette of Su Hong stood flawlessly victorious over the massive creature. Existences that ordinary people cannot comprehend, she muttered softly, finally accepting reality. Meanwhile, Su Hong was deep in thought. Giving up 6 perfectly maxed out attributes just to practice thunder felt like a monumental waste. What a dilemma. After thinking for a bit, he raised a finger and said, President, how about you give me a copy of the guidance techniques for all 7 attributes? Wu Linxian sternly warned him that human energy is limited. She recounted tragic tales of past martial artists who tried to cultivate all 7 simultaneously, only to waste decades and remain stuck at rank 1. But Su-hong stubbornly decided to try them all first before focusing on one. Defeated, she sighed and agreed, but firmly warned him not to mess around and waste his incredible talent. Changing the subject, Wu Linxian casually asked about his school's upcoming monthly exam. Su-hong was curious about her sudden interest. Her expression grew dead serious. The friction on the all-heavens battlefield was intensifying, and a devastating war between the human race and the myriad races could break out at any moment. To prepare, nations were heavily investing in genius training camps. She promised him a highly coveted recommendation slot, but only if he took first place in his exam. Su-hong's eyes hardened with resolve. He agreed, promising to work hard. The mention of the brutal war brought back dark memories of losing his relatives a decade ago. The tragic images of a crying child amidst the rubble and his heavily scarred uncle flashed in his mind. He clenched his fists, vowing to become stronger and protect everyone around him. Later that night, the moon hung quietly over Su-hong's modest apartment building. Inside, he proudly presented his new, shiny official martial artist ID to his family. His uncle and aunt started crying and said, "Little Hong, you really succeeded. That's wonderful. Our little Hong has a bright future. So capable." His aunt and uncle beamed with overwhelming joy. As a rank 1 martial artist, he would receive a monthly allowance of 10,000 blue star coins. His uncle wouldn't have to break his back working so desperately anymore. "Don't worry," Su-hong smiled softly, a gentle confidence in his voice. "From now on, I will hold this family up." Deep in the quiet of the night, Su-hong sat cross-legged on the roof, fiery energy swirling wildly around his body as he tested his new heavenly flame technique. His eyes snapped open, glowing with intense, burning determination. He threw a powerful punch, unleashing the blazing energy forward with all his might. Flames depleted and steam began to rise. Su-hong stared at his hand in total confusion, wondering why his basic mastery had absolutely no power. With a heavy sigh, he summoned his holographic system panel. The heavenly flame guidance technique was clearly listed, meaning he had indeed learned it successfully. Wait, he noticed a small plus sign next to the technique. Level 1, he muttered aloud, wondering if guidance techniques could actually be leveled up. President Wu definitely hadn't mentioned anything like that. A wide, shocked grin spread across his face as the realization hit him. Could it be that this legendary guidance technique could only be leveled up by him, using his system? With this unbelievable advantage, his path to the top was practically guaranteed. Su-hong stared at the glowing holographic menu floating in front of him. He wondered, how do I upgrade the guidance technique? Do I use martial points for this too? With a sharp beep, a red warning flashed on the screen, reading, insufficient martial points. Su-hong sighed in defeat. Forget it, let's cultivate the rest of the guidance techniques first. I'll figure out a way to earn martial points later. Sitting cross-legged on the roof, Su-hong closed his eyes in deep concentration. A fierce storm of fire and lightning suddenly erupted around him, his aura blazing with raw, untamed power. Several hours later, things weren't going smoothly. An internal map of his body revealed a chaotic clash. Su-hong realized the spiritual energy of 7 different attributes are repelling each other. Sweating profusely, he gritted his teeth under the immense, burning pressure. He grunted. No wonder President Wu said that a genius who cultivated 7 guidance techniques was still a rank 1 martial artist after decades. But here's the catch. He realized that although all 7 types of spiritual energy existed within his body, he could only safely use one attribute at a time. A single, focused flame danced quietly in his palm. Driven by wild curiosity, he decided to push his limits. He thought, if I forcibly use a second attribute, golden lightning violently sparked and twisted into the roaring flame. With a sudden, heavy thud, the energies violently repelled each other, bursting apart in a dangerous flash of light. He noted, the 2 attributes will clash violently and eventually dissipate. Refusing to give up, Su-hong focused his intense gaze. Sparks of yellow and orange fiercely danced around his hands as he wondered. Thunder and fire have relatively similar natures. Can they really not be fused? With a sharp hiss, the glowing energy shattered into nothingness, slipping right through his tense fingers. Frustration boiled over. Small explosions rocked the quiet rooftop as he shouted, "Blast it! One more time! Again! One more time!" The relentless training continued through the dark night, until the cool, quiet light of dawn finally broke over the apartment building. Panting heavily, Su-hong's face was completely drenched in sweat. He pushed himself to the absolute brink, whispering, "Just a little more." His hand trembled violently as raw, crackling power surged through his strained veins. He muttered, "Just a tiny bit more." With a defiant roar, lightning and fire erupted around him in a blinding, chaotic storm. He shouted, "Come on, fuse for me." A blinding ball of energy compressed tightly in his palm. The intense, glowing light illuminated the early morning sky as he aggressively commanded the power to fuse. The chaotic sparks finally settled into a steady, vibrating orb of combined thunder and flame. Exhausted but deeply triumphant, he smiled. Tried all night, finally succeeded. Clenching his fist, the combined elemental energy hummed with dangerous, explosive potential. He smirked confidently. Let's go out and test its power. Su-hong made his way directly to the Star City Citizen Martial Arts Plaza, where heavy mechanical combat testers silently awaited. Standing before a massive, heavily armored machine, he mused, I specifically switched to a rank 3 combat power tester. It shouldn't break this time, right? He wound up his strike, power radiating fiercely from his arm. He calculated, last time, 50% power was 3,000 combat power. Let's try 30% this time. He unleashed a devastating punch. The digital display rapidly climbed to 2,343. Su-hong gasped in shock. It actually exceeded 2,300? 30% power should be around 1,800. It actually increased by 500. Sparks of golden lightning wildly danced across his knuckles. He murmured, just the power of thunder alone is this strong. A fierce, excited grin spread across his face as he ignited the flames right alongside the lightning. He wondered, what about the fused power of thunder and fire? With a thunderous explosion, he slammed his blazing fist into the testing pad, unleashing a terrifying, blinding shockwave of combined elements. The screen instantly spiked to 3,041. Su-hong blinked in sheer disbelief, exclaiming, huh? It broke 3,000? Staring at his smoking fist, the realization hit him hard. He thought, relying purely on my physical body and fused thunder and fire, 30% strength surpasses a rank 1 high-stage martial artist. My current vitality is only 123 points. That is absolutely terrifying. A vivid, beautiful image flashed in his mind of all 7 elements perfectly swirling together in harmony. He questioned in awe. This is only fusing 2 attributes. If I can fuse 7, what would the power be like? The endless possibilities ignited his fierce ambition. With a confident smile, he decided, I should go back and try fusing 3 attributes. Later that night, reality hit him hard. Su-hong lay flat on his back on the cold rooftop, completely drained from his relentless, failed attempts. He thought, but the difficulty of fusing 3 attributes. Who knows how many times higher it is I arranged and combined the 7 attributes several times, but made no progress at all. Staring at his system menu, he noticed all his techniques were still at level 1. He thought, I wonder if increasing the guidance technique level will help me fuse successfully? Tomorrow is the monthly exam. I should earn as many martial points as possible. The very next morning, the sprawling athletic field of Star City High No. 1 was absolutely packed with chattering students, all buzzing with nervous anticipation. The principal stood proudly at the podium, his voice echoing across the field. He announced, students, this monthly exam is different from the past. Due to the tense situation on the front lines, a training camp will be held every year from now on to select and intensively cultivate geniuses. The crowd listened intently as the principal continued. The training camp has abundant resources, not only large amounts of martial arts and pills, but also Grandmasters serving as instructors. The top 3 students in this monthly exam will be able to participate. The students went absolutely wild. Su-hong's classmates shouted excitedly, unbelievable, a genius training camp. A rank 7 Grandmaster as an instructor? Ah, our principal is only rank 3. I want to win. Su-hong, however, looked slightly annoyed and confused. He thought to himself, what's this about getting a spot only if I take first place? Didn't the top 3 all get spots? Beside him, a classmate groaned in deep despair. Chun-shan and Li-tu have both become rank 1 martial artists. Quite a few people have mastered the basics of Thunderclap Fist. We have no chance. Su-hong raised an eyebrow, thinking, I haven't been to school for only 10 days, and they broke through to martial artist? His spiky-haired friend explained the dire situation, noting, these days the principal dragged that senior Chen-tian, who teaches Thunderclap Fist, to give private lessons to those with talent. Chun-shan and Li-tu's vitality broke through 100 a few days ago, and their Thunderclap Fist can echo 3 times. Across the massive crowd, Chun-shan and Li-tu exchanged fierce, lightning-filled glares, practically sparking with intense rivalry. Chun-shan smirked. This time I want to let everyone know who the real number 1 genius is. Li-tu shot back coldly. When I beat you down, I hope you can still be this confident. Meanwhile, near the grandstand, senior Chen-tian respectfully approached Old Li. He asked, Old Li, haven't found that genius with the 9-echo Thunderclap Fist yet? Old Li sighed deeply. I've looked everywhere recently. I don't think he's a student at my number 1 high. Suddenly, Old Li's eyes widened in sheer surprise as he spotted some very unexpected guests confidently walking onto the school grounds. It was Principal Jiang Ming from the Raging Thunder Dojo, strutting forward with his 2 top disciples, Li Ming and Li Yin. Jiang Ming sneered loudly. Yo, Old Li, why do you look like your wife ran away? Old Li scowled, demanding, Jiang Ming, what are you doing in my school? Jiang Ming chuckled with complete arrogance. Old comrade, your student quality this year isn't great. I also brought 2 disciples. After the monthly exam ends, Let the first-place student come over and spar. Old Lee clenched his fists, instantly realizing the unfair trap. He thought, this guy's obviously here to embarrass me. But if I don't agree, wouldn't it be admitting that the whole school doesn't have a single presentable talent? Sensing his hesitation, Jiangming mocked him further. Of course, your student quality seems poor. If you refuse, I can understand. Old Lee's face turned completely red with fury as he shouted, You brat, are you looking for trouble on purpose? But right at that tense moment, Li Yan's face paled, his finger trembling as he pointed into the crowd. He stammered in absolute fear. Teacher, this is bad. Look over there, it's that kid Su Hong. Jiangming raised his confused eyebrow. Su Hong. Deeply puzzled, Jiangming turned to follow his terrified disciple's pointing finger, wondering out loud, which Su? And there he was, standing casually among the parting sea of students. Su Hong radiated an intimidating, glowing aura, smiling calmly. Li Yan shrieked, It's that little monster. Jiangming's smug, arrogant expression vanished instantly, quickly replaced by a thick, cold sweat. He thought in sheer panic. That kid is actually from high number 1. Looking to his students, he thought, damn it, if Li Yan and Li Ming encounter him, they definitely can't beat him. Rather than losing face then, in a hilarious, sudden change of tune, Jiangming immediately waved his hands in total surrender. He nervously laughed. Old Li, old Chun, don't be angry. I was joking. We won't compete. My 2 trash disciples. How could they compare to your students? His both students shouted. Yes, we admit defeat. Completely misunderstanding the sudden retreat as pure, mocking sarcasm. Old Li and Chen Tan trembled with immense rage. Old Li ground his teeth, thinking, these guys, they dare to mock us so sarcastically. Curse them. Soon enough, the massive circular arena was cleared for the official exams. The announcer's voice boomed over the speakers. Number 665 Chen Peng and number 666 Su Hong. Match start. Su Hong's spiky-haired friend groaned in deep sympathy. Old Su, your first opponent is a quasi-martial artist. 2, unlucky. Another added with heavy concern. Su Hong, you can try to fight, but don't force it. Getting injured isn't worth it. Ignoring their warnings entirely, Su Hong stepped calmly onto the pristine battlefield. His opponent confidently cracked his knuckles, sneering, Are you going down yourself? Or should I beat you down? But Su Hong lunged forward with blinding speed. Su Hong casually swung his glowing arm. With a massive, sweeping shockwave, he effortlessly sent the upperclassman flying high through the air. With a heavy thud, the opponent crashed brutally onto the hard arena floor, skidding to a dead stop in an instant. The match was over before it even officially began. The entire stadium fell into a completely stunned, breathless silence. His friend's jaw practically dropped to the floor as he gasped. Unbelievable. Since when was old Su so fierce? Standing tall and imposing amidst the swirling dust, Su Hong looked completely unfazed. The massive crowd erupted into absolute chaos, someone screaming. He instantly defeated a quasi-martial artist with one single move. Su Hong stood victorious over another fallen opponent, taking a deep breath as the crowd erupted. Someone in the stands gasped. Su Hong won again. How is he so strong? Another wonder aloud. Could he already be a Tier 1 martial artist? The announcer's voice boomed, declaring the next match would be the finals. Watching from the balcony, Chan Tan leaned over to Old Li, his brow furrowed with confusion. Where did this Su Hong come from, he asked. He wondered, why wasn't he there when I was giving private lessons? Old Li sighed heavily, admitting, this is all due to my negligence in my work. Old Li crossed his arms, staring down at the arena with a look of regret. How come I never noticed such a promising talent before? Because I didn't focus on grooming him earlier. A talent has been buried by me, he confessed. Chun Tan rubbed his chin thoughtfully. He muttered, I feel like I've seen this kid somewhere, but I can't recall where. The teachers shifted their focus back to the ongoing matches. The semi-final match between Chun Shan and Li Han should be coming to an end. Chun Tian noted, eager to see the top seeds in action. Down in the ring, it was an absolute blur of motion. Chun Shan and Xian Yan were trading a flurry of high-speed strikes, their movements echoing with heavy thuds across the arena. The audience watched in awe, realizing their strength was evenly matched, making it hard to say who would win. With a sharp hiss and a surge of energy, Chun Shan broke the grapple. Chun Shan, we both practiced the Tier 3 marrow fist, Xian Yan shouted, power surging around his fists. He challenged him, if you don't use your ultimate move, don't even think about beating me. The air cracked as they rushed forward, trading devastating blows. A thunderous explosion rippled across the floor as their fists collided. Chun Shan didn't hold back, engulfing his fist in roaring flames. He met the attack head-on, declaring, Xian, you've practiced your moves well. He shouted with absolute confidence. But I'm a number 1 in the whole school. The crowd went absolutely wild. Attribute projection, a student yelled in sheer disbelief. Another gasped, Chun Shan can now project his attribute. A third chimed in, and it's incredibly powerful, a fire attribute only inferior to lightning. But wait, Xian, effortlessly conjuring glowing chains of energy around his arm with a sharp crackle. It's just a tribute projection, he taunted the crowd. Who doesn't know how to do that? Panic swept the student section. Li Tu knows attribute projection too. One shouted, eyes wide with fear. And it's the metal attribute, which is even stronger than the fire attribute in combat. Li Tu dashed forward, a blur of unstoppable motion. Moreover, I can do this, he roared, unleashing a barrage of chain-wrap punches that tore through the air. 5-sound thunder fist, Li Tu bellowed, pushing his technique to the absolute limit. The strikes landed with thunderous explosions, completely overwhelming his opponent and sending a clear message to everyone watching. Up in the balcony, Old Li and Chen Tian were visibly stunned. 5-sound thunder fist. Li Tu is hiding his true strength, Old Li observed, narrowing his eyes. Chen Tian nodded, adding, in just over 10 days, he not only mastered attribute projection, but also mastered the thunder fist technique. Li Tu is quite impressive. Old Li said, no need to watch the finals. Against a subtlety stage rushing thunder fist and metal attribute, Su Hong can't possibly beat Li Tu. Chen Tian replied, it's a pity if Su Hong also knew a guiding technique and a thunder fist technique. He might have had a fighting chance. Other principal put a hand on Old Li's shoulder and said, Old Li, Old Chun, I bet 50,000 that Su Hong will take first place. Are you guys in? Old Li got surprised and said, are you crazy? Su Hong is good, but he doesn't know any guiding techniques. What will he win with? Chen Tian agreed, since you're bringing money to my doorstep, TLL take it. Finally, it was time for the main event. The arena cleared as the announcer's voice echoed. Finals. Number 01, Li Tu versus number 666, Su Hong. Begin. The crowd roared, chanting, charge Su Hong. Take the championship. Others yelled, Li Tu, be focused. Don't lose face. Li Tu stood across from Su Hong, a cocky smile plastered on his face. You're really lucky, he sneered, crossing his arms. You didn't meet me or Chun Shan earlier, and somehow managed to reach the finals. Su Hong just stood there, completely unfazed. Li Tu continued his arrogant monologue. I've hunted so many ferocious beasts that I felt these students were too weak, he bragged. Finally, someone worth grooming has arrived. Li Tu clenched his fist, acting high and mighty. But since you've entered the finals, you can claim the title of second in the whole school, he offered. Su Hong tilted his head, a calm but dangerous aura surrounding him. Then who is first? Su Hong asked simply. Li Tu lunged forward, the ground cracking under his immense speed. First, it's definitely me, he shouted, throwing a devastating punch straight at Su Hong. I only need one move to make you understand how big the gap is between us. Li Tu roared. His arm was wrapped in thick chains of metal attribute energy, driving forward with overwhelming force and a roaring rumble. The students in the stands panicked completely. This is madness. He's using the 5-sound thunder fist right from the beginning. Is he that serious? One cried out. Another groaned. It's over. Once Li Tu's fist comes out, there's no fight left. Su Hong is going to lose. But Su Hong didn't flinch. A low hum vibrated in the air as his eyes suddenly glowed with an intense, golden light. Su Hong charged his own fist, a blazing golden aura erupting around it with a sharp swish. I just happen to want to see the limits of my physical body, he thought, stepping directly into the path of destruction. Is Su Hong crazy? A student screamed from the bleachers. He actually didn't dodge and raised his fist to meet it head on. Another yelled, that's not how you seek death. Someone save him, quick. A massive explosion rocked the arena as their fists collided. Heavy thuds and shockwaves tore through the floor, sending debris flying in every direction. The impact was catastrophic, creating a deafening boom. But as the dust settled, the reality of the clash became clear. Su Hong had completely halted Li Tu's momentum. Li Tu's eyes widened in sheer disbelief. He stared at Su Hong, panic creeping in. He actually neutralized my 5-sound thunder fist with 5 instant punches, he thought, realizing the impossible had just happened. Su Hong didn't give him a single second to breathe. He unleashed a rapid-fire counterattack with heavy, booming strikes that sent Li Tu flying backwards, his metal chains shattering on impact. Li Tu struggled to keep his footing amidst the explosions, sweating profusely. Is this guy a monster? He gritted his teeth, feeling the overwhelming pressure. Each punch is so heavy. The crowd was entirely speechless. Su Hong didn't use any martial arts skills, yet he fought evenly against Li Tu using the 5-sound thunder fist, a student noted, eyes wide. Another swallowed hard, whispering, Su Hong's strength is terrifying. Up in the stands, Chen Tian, looking at the fight, said he must possess some kind of special physique, otherwise his strength wouldn't be so exaggerated. Old Li replied, haha, my school actually produced a genius with a special physique. Chen Tian let out a soft sigh. Although Su Hong's strength is astonishing, Li Tu has already condensed an attribute, he analyzed. Su Hong still has no advantage. Down in the arena, the two fighters skidded back with a soft sliding sound, creating distance between them as the dust finally settled. Li Tu, clearly frustrated and panting, summoned his metal chains once more. His aura flared wildly with a crackling hum. Su Hong, don't be arrogant, he screamed. The winner can only be me. He launched himself back into the fray, a heavy boom echoing as he pushed off the ground. Defeat me if you can, he challenged, throwing everything he had into the strike. Su-hong watched him approach with calm, piercing eyes. I originally wanted to see how well I could fight Li Tu with just my physical strength, he thought, feeling a bit disappointed. But this guy couldn't hold back and exploded with full power so quickly. Su-hong's stance shifted, and a terrifying golden lightning began to crackle around his entire body with a sharp snap. Since you've gone all out, he muttered, preparing his counter. Then I have to put in a little effort too, Su-hong finished. He vanished in a flash of light, reappearing right in front of Li Tu, shouting, "Thunder!" Li Tu's cocky expression vanished instantly, replaced by pure terror. You can use a tribute projection too, he gasped, completely caught off guard by the blinding light. In the balcony, Old Li and Chun Tian practically jumped out of their seats. Chun Tian stammered, asking how it was possible, utterly bewildered. Old Li's jaw dropped as he added, "Oh my god." Old Li clutched his chest, his eyes bulging in absolute shock. Lightning attribute. Su-hong has also mastered the thunder guiding technique, he yelled. He shook his head, amazed. A special physique and the strongest attribute of lightning. This talent is truly terrifying. A massive collision of elements erupted in the arena. Su-hong's golden lightning completely overpowered Li Tu's metal chains, tearing through them with deafening booms. Li Tu gritted his teeth, feeling the immense, crushing pressure. His lightning attribute is stronger than my metal attribute, he realized, true desperation finally setting in. But here's the catch, Su-hong wasn't done yet. His eyes glowed with raw, untamed power. I'll show you my ultimate move as well, he declared, pulling his fist back as the lightning concentrated into a blinding force. With a devastating strike, Su-hong launched a continuous barrage of lightning-infused punches. The thunderous impacts sent Li Tu crashing violently to the ground. Li Tu lay there, eyes wide with shock, as the sheer force of the attack sunk in and left a devastating mark. 9 sounds? How is that possible? He thought, his spirit entirely broken. Su-hong stood over his defeated opponent, the lightning slowly fading from his fists. With a final, heavy thud, he had completely ended the threat, securing his absolute victory. The entire student section fell into a dead, stunned silence. No one could process what they had just witnessed, their mouths hanging open. Then, absolute pandemonium broke out. No way, bro. Su-hong actually won, someone screamed. 9-sound thunder fist, the perfection stage. Really? An older student yelled. That's God tier. Su-hong's thunder fist is even more powerful than the teacher who taught him. The teachers were still reeling. Chun Tian stammered, finally finding his voice. 9 sounds? Is he that genius who disappeared from Lu Tian school? Oldie shook his head slowly, pure awe in his eyes. That's no simple genius. That is the dragon of our Star City #1 high school. Chun Tian said, when this kind of prodigy goes to the training camp, I wonder how much of a blow those geniuses with prominent backgrounds will suffer. Su-hong stood tall in the center of the arena, his calm demeanor returning as medics carried Li Tu away. A quiet realization washed over everyone watching. A golden scale is no ordinary fish. Once it meets wind and cloud, it transforms into a dragon, a voice observed. To Su-hong, our Star City is nothing more than a small puddle. Old Li nodded, a proud smile finally gracing his face. In this training camp, Su-hong is bound to be a hidden dragon rising from the abyss and soar to great heights, he declared. The magic capital, the imperial capital, and even the battlefield of the heavens. Those are the places where prodigies truly shine. As the golden sunset painted the city skyline, Su-hong returned to his quiet apartment building. He called out, Uncle, Aunt, I'm back. Inside, his aunt and uncle were just sitting down for a modest dinner. Su-hong dropped his heavy training bag. Uncle looked up with a welcoming smile, saying, Little Hong is back. How did the exam go today? Su-hong flashed a confident grin and replied, Hee, I was first. Uncle's face lit up with pure joy as he placed a proud hand on Su-hong's shoulder. First? My God, first in a monthly exam, he cheered. Then, Little Hong, does that mean you can go to that training camp you mentioned? Su-hong simply nodded with a soft, Suddenly, a sharp, heavy knocking interrupted their celebration. Outside the door stood a woman in an expensive purple suit. Hey, is that Su-hong? She demanded, rapping her knuckles impatiently against the wood. Su-hong opened the door, his expression shifting to confusion as his aunt and uncle peeked out from behind him. And you are, he asked politely. The woman crossed her arms, exuding absolute arrogance. You must be Su-hong, she declared, looking down her nose at him. I'm Lin Yan's parent, from your school. The top 3 in the monthly exam get to go to the training camp. My son ranked 4th, and I wanted to discuss you giving up your spot. Without waiting for an answer, she rudely shoved a thick stack of cash toward him. 30,000 yuan. I'll give you 30,000 to give up the spot so our Lin Yan can go. Su-hong and his family stared at her in stunned silence, completely baffled by her sheer audacity. Annoyed by their lack of reaction, Lin Yan's mother waved the money aggressively. What kind of attitude is that? This training camp was established to nurture geniuses for the all-heavens battlefield. The competition is cruel. People perish there. She paced the balcony, her voice rising in condescension. Everyone inside gorges on high-grade elixirs until they puke and practices high-rank martial arts like it's nothing. With your family's conditions, giving up early is for your own good. Hearing this, Aunt's face paled. She turned to Su Hong, genuine fear in her eyes, and asked, "Little Hong, is what she says true? Is it really that dangerous?" "Uncle, calm her down, Alon, calm down." Uncle's protective instincts flared up. His brow furrowed deeply as he looked straight at his nephew. "Little Hong, can you guarantee your safety?" Su Hong didn't hesitate for a single second. His piercing blue eyes locked with his uncle's as he declared firmly, "I can." The woman scoffed, rolling her eyes. "I'm telling you, you actually believe a child's guarantee." But Uncle fiercely pointed a finger back at her. "Of course I believe him. Going to the genius training camp is his own decision. He's grown up now. I believe he can fulfill his promise." He glared at her, adding, "Besides, if I don't trust my own family, am I supposed to trust you?" With a heavy, resounding thud, the door slammed shut right in her face. "Please leave," Uncle shouted from inside. Furious, the woman stomped away, clutching her designer bag. "What kind of people are you?" she shrieked. "Just you wait, he'll get eliminated from the training camp." The tension in the apartment quickly faded. Su Hong turned to his uncle, feeling guilty. "Uncle, I didn't mean to hide the danger from you." But Uncle just smiled softly, resting his hands on the table, and replied, "It's okay." Giving his nephew a bright, encouraging thumbs up, Uncle beamed. "I'm a rough man. You're more educated than I am, and you know that training camp better than I do. Since you have the resolve to face difficulties, we'll support you." But Aunt instantly slapped Uncle playfully on the backside. "What are you talking about?" she scolded as Uncle jumped in surprise. She turned to Su Hong with a warm, caring smile. "Little Hong, we don't ask for any ranking. Just stay safe." Su Hong closed his eyes, deeply touched by their unwavering love. He agreed happily. Later that night, the city lights flickered to life. Su Hong stood alone on a high rooftop, overlooking the sprawling metropolis. The cool wind rustled his jacket as he stared into the distance. Even though Uncle and Aunt support me, they must still be secretly worried, he thought, his resolve hardening. I absolutely cannot let them down. To protect this hard-earned life, I must become stronger. Swiping his hand, he pulled up his glowing system interface. I fought over a dozen matches in a monthly exam and got a total of 285 martial points. It's not enough. He analyzed his current stats, tapping his mortal frame percentage. I don't know what high-level martial skills and trump cards the geniuses in the training camp have. To fight them, I should prioritize upgrading my physical combat power. He immediately dumped points into his physique. Searing heat enveloped his body as his mortal frame climbed rapidly, point one by point one, pushing his muscles to their limits. Panting heavily, Su Hong wiped the sweat from his brow. Mortal frame, 64.6%. Still 35.4% away from 100. I wonder what special physique comes after the mortal frame. But here's the catch. He glanced back at his screen and gasped in surprise. When did the thunder and heavenly flame guidance techniques hit level 2? He stared at the blue holographic panel, deep in thought. I only cultivated the guidance techniques for a few days. I didn't do anything else. Could it be that no extra conditions are needed? They level up just by normal cultivation? A fierce smirk formed on his face. In an instant, golden lightning surged in his right hand, while searing red fire erupted in his left. In that case, I'll try to raise them another level. Time pushed forward. The next day, dawn broke, painting the Star City skyline with a brilliant, hopeful light. Su Hong's eyes snapped open, blazing with power. Sitting cross-legged, he perfectly balanced a massive sphere of crackling lightning and swirling fire between his palms. A system prompt confirmed his success. Both techniques had reached level 3. He exhaled, feeling the surge of new strength. Not only did the guidance techniques level up, but my vitality also increased by 3 points, he noted happily. What an unexpected harvest. A little later, out on the bustling street, Su Hong prepared to leave. He carried a large weapon case on his back while his aunt and uncle stood by to see him off. "Stay safe," Aunt reminded him gently. "If you can't handle it, just come home." Uncle immediately waved his hand, dismissing the worry. "Don't say such depressing things. Little Hong, go to the training camp and bring back another first place." Su Hong turned and waved confidently, calling back, "Okay, I'm off then." But the moment Su Hong walked away, Uncle's tough facade completely crumbled. His entire body began to tremble uncontrollably with hidden anxiety. Aunt leaned into him, tears streaming down her face. "You say that to me, but aren't you just as worried?" she cried out. Uncle's face was a mess of tears. "I just didn't want little Hong to worry," he sobbed. Su Hong strode coolly down the sidewalk, fully focused on his path forward. Suddenly, his sharp senses caught a rapid movement. He glanced sideways, his eyes narrowing. A loud screech echoed through the street as a sleek, bright red convertible drifted sharply. Its tires smoked against the asphalt before stopping right at the crosswalk next to him. The driver was none other than Wu Linxian, looking incredibly glamorous in her shades. "Get in," she commanded with a confident smirk. Soon, the red sports car was tearing down the massive city overpass, weaving swiftly through the traffic. Su-hong sat comfortably in the passenger seat, the wind rushing past them as they sped along. Looking over at her, Su-hong asked, "President, did you need me for something?" Wu Linxian kept her eyes locked on the road ahead. "Regarding the genius training camp, there are some things I must remind you of," she warned. "As the president of the Star City Martial Arts Association, I know the profiles of some of the people there." She continues, "From what I know, among those martial artists, there are a few monsters who are already rank 1 high-stage martial artists, and they aren't far from becoming rank 2 martial artists." She lowered her sunglasses slightly, her tone turning dead serious. "Those monsters, the skills they've mastered are at least Class B martial skills." Su-hong listened intently as she continued. "Rank 2 martial artists need 200 points of vitality. There are actually people in my batch not far from rank 2. But internally, Su-hong remained completely unfazed. "But I'm not afraid of Class B martial skills," he thought. "With the system space, I can learn even Class B skills quickly." Wu Linxian glanced at him, her voice softening with genuine encouragement. "Su-hong, your talent is the strongest I have ever seen, bar none. But you lack the resources they have. So, even if you face setbacks in the training camp, do not take it to heart. With your talent, surpassing them is inevitable." Touched by her belief in him, Su-hong offered a calm, self-assured smile. "I understand. Thank you, Sister Wu." A subtle smile graced Wu Linxian's lips as she turned back to the road. Knowing full well his vitality and martial skills are inferior to others, yet he remains so calm, she thought, highly impressed. It seems I don't need to worry about his mindset causing issues. A sleek black car drove down the winding road of the Tianlin mountain range. Inside, the tension was thick. One student yelled in sheer panic, "What?" The training camp is in the Tianlin mountain range, where ferocious beasts gather in droves. The teacher quickly reassured them, explaining that Grandmasters oversee the camp, so there was generally no danger to their lives. Su-hong, however, sat perfectly calm. He knew this massive mountain range spanned across multiple cities. He thought to himself, not only is it rich in spiritual energy, but there are even beast kings within it comparable to rank 7 Grandmasters. A terrifying vision of a massive tiger crushing its prey flashed in his mind. The beasts here are far more ferocious, he pondered. Even a normal rank 2 martial artist wouldn't dare set foot here lightly. The vehicle sped deeper into the dense, shadowed forest. In the crushing darkness, countless glowing red eyes watched them from the bushes, accompanied by low, menacing growls. One of the students shivered, whispering nervously, "I feel like something is watching us." "You don't think a ferocious beast is going to suddenly attack us, do you?" Su-hong clenched his fist, a small, excited smirk forming on his face. He thought, the competition at the training camp will probably be just as brutal as the beasts battling each other here. I must be going a little crazy to actually start liking this feeling. Finally, they arrived at a heavily fortified encampment, surrounded by tall steel fences. Stepping out of the car, the students stared at the massive crowd. One muttered, "I wonder how strong these people are." The area was packed with intimidating, battle-hardened teens who looked like they lived for a fight. Su-hong's classmates swallowed hard, utterly speechless in the face of the intense atmosphere. But Su-hong? He just smiled, his blue eyes gleaming with pure anticipation. He confidently gripped his spear and said, "Let's go." His classmates meekly agreed, trailing behind him. Suddenly, an authoritative hand gestured for their attention. A sharp-looking examiner in a suit stepped forward. He announced, "We'll wait here until everyone has arrived, and then begin the entrance exam." Su-hong asked in shock, "There's an entrance exam too?" Just then, the roar of luxury engines filled the air. Several high-end cars pulled up with a soft sliding sound, sending mud flying along the path. The doors opened, and the real elite stepped out in style. The crowd immediately started whispering, "Goddess Xiao Yin is so beautiful. Her spiritual telekinetics are truly enviable." Another pointed out, "That's Lin Xinghe. I heard he's almost rank 2. And then there was Wang Tiantao, the city lord's son, known as the barbarian god for his special physique. The 3 geniuses walked through the crowd with an undeniable aura of power, drawing every eye in the camp. Su-hong and his group watched silently as the heavy hitters lined up. Su-hong thought, "Are those 3 leading the pack the top geniuses of Star City the president mentioned? Let's see just how much of a genius you all really are." The examiner cleared his throat and declared, "Everyone is here. I will now announce the rules for the entrance exam." The training camp is located within the Tianlin mountain range, 30 kilometers from this encampment. Holding up an ornate wooden badge, the examiner explained, "We've embedded tokens inside some of the ferocious beasts. You can only enter the training camp if you have a token in your hand." Panic erupted. 30 kilometers in 8 hours seems easy, one student stammered, his face pale. "But once we go deeper, we could perish." Su-hong, however, was unfazed. He thought, "I just need to get there in 8 hours? Then I have plenty of time to hunt more beasts and earn martial points." One student raised his hand. "What if we run into a ferocious beast with a level far beyond ours?" Examiner replied. "Then consider yourself unlucky and eliminated, but someone will come to save your little lives." A student in a green jacket shouted. That's not fair. It's highly likely that the strong will be eliminated while the weak pass on pure luck. The examiner's face darkened into a scowl. He snapped, fair? This world isn't a game of house. After painstakingly cultivating for over 10 years, you arrive at the battlefield only to be casually crushed by a passing powerhouse. Are you going to protest that it's unfair then, too? He looked over the crowd, his voice booming. Mitigating risks, the strong preying on the weak. These are the laws of the battlefield. An arrogant wealthy student in a sharp suit chimed in. He's right. If you're afraid to perish, quit now and save us the time. Always scared of this and that. What a bunch of trash. The green jacket student pointed a trembling finger at him and shouted. Try saying that again. The suit guy smirked, replying, You're a coward and trash. If you have a problem with it, make a move. Watch me cripple you. The examiner nonchalantly looked at his clipboard. Fighting is prohibited in the encampment, but once you enter the mountain, we won't intervene. Whether you want to snatch tokens or just beat someone up, feel free. Sparks literally flew as the suit guy's eyes glowed with blue energy, glaring menacingly at his challenger. Su-hong observed the tension, thinking, the training camp really is ruthless. Under these rules, probably half the people here will be eliminated. By the way, the examiner held up a timer. It allowed a sharp beep. All right, enough talking. The exam begins now. Everyone get out. With a massive surge of movement, the students charged toward the gates, yelling and shoving each other out of the way. They scattered into the dense forest, leaves rustling loudly as they dashed through the trees. It didn't take long for the chaos to begin. The green jacket student shouted, Get over here. I'm going to send you packing right now. The arrogant suit guy shouted, If you want to be eliminated right now, I'll gladly oblige. His fist crackled with intense blue energy, clashing directly against the other student's fiery orange aura. A loud cry echoed through the woods. The impact left a devastating mark, sending shockwaves through the air as they collided. They traded rapid blows, their fists moving like blurs of light. Explosions of energy lit up the forest as they fiercely battered each other. Standing on a sturdy tree branch above them, Su-hong watched with a heavy sigh. He thought, I wanted to take this chance to see the combat power of these so-called geniuses, but this is it? They aren't nearly as impressive as the rumors say. He turned around, completely bored. Even if I beat them, I probably wouldn't get many martial points. I should hurry up and hunt a few more high-level beasts instead. Down below, the two students were locked in a fierce grapple. The suit guy spat. A pauper is a pauper. What makes you think you can compare to my family's generations of wealth? The green jacket student strained, yelling back, Shut up. Don't lump me in with those paupers. The petty argument over wealth and class echoed through the trees, making Su-hong pause in his tracks. He moved back and thought, looks like I shouldn't let these free martial points go to waste. With a soft sliding sound, Su-hong suddenly dropped down between them, casually breaking up their fight with a single kick. Holding a massive wooden log over his shoulder, Su-hong smirked and said, Stop fighting, you two. Come play with me instead. The suit guy glared at him, furious at the audacity. The arrogance. Here comes another pauper. Careful, or I'll beat you up too. The green jacket student shouted, What's your level, daring to break up a fight? Su-hong calmly lowered the log. He casually explained, You two misunderstand. What I mean is, how about you stop fighting each other and team up against me? The green jacket student lost his mind. Shouting with pure rage, he launched himself at Su-hong. You dare look down on me? You're asking for defeat. A glowing blue kick hurled with terrifying speed. Su-hong kicked the student so hard. Su-hong effortlessly sent the student with massive shockwave tearing through the earth. Student slammed into a tree, completely knocked out cold. The suit guy stared in absolute shock, trembling as he muttered, Impossible. He and I are similar in strength. Yet he lost in a single move. Before he could even process it, Su-hong dashed forward with blinding footwork, aiming the heavy log right at him. Your turn, Su-hong declared. Suit guy gasped, his eyes widening in pure terror. With a thunderous impact, the log struck home, instantly ending the threat and sending him crashing to the ground. The forest fell dead silent. With a heavy thud, the arrogant student in the suit was sent flying back, crashing violently against a thick tree. His mouth hung wide open in sheer disbelief. Su-hong stood over the groaning pair, casually resting his spear on his shoulder. He looked down and stated coldly, That's what you get for looking down on ordinary cultivators. Back in the observation room, the monitors were completely stunned. One observer pointed at the screen, bewildered. Where did this guy come from? Those two were in the middle of a heated duel, and he just came out and one-shot both of them. He then turned and asked, Are the two who were knocked down eliminated? The head examiner stroked his dark goatee and replied firmly, No, they didn't call for help, so the assessment continues. Back in the forest, the suited student slowly opened a bruised eye, groaning heavily. He clutched his swollen face, his arrogant demeanor completely shattered. He whimpered, It hurts. Suddenly, panic set in. He scrambled backward, desperately dragging himself through the dirt. Get back, he shouted in terror. His fear quickly turned to boiling rage. He gritted his teeth and sneered, That arrogant brat. I've never been so humiliated. Don't let me catch you. The green-jacketed student sat against a tree, clutching his aching chest. He grumbled, confounded. If I hadn't underestimated him, I never would have lost to that kid. The two battered rivals slowly turned their heads and locked eyes. A long, utterly awkward silence hung in the air between them. In a surprising twist, the two former enemies reached out and shook hands. The green-jacketed student smiled awkwardly. Sorry about before. Don't take what I said to heart. You really are strong. The suited student nodded in agreement. You're strong too. I shouldn't have mocked you. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The two newly formed brothers in arms threw their arms around each other's shoulders and limped down the path. One declared, Brother, let's go get revenge. The other agreed. We have to use this wooden club to give that kid a few whacks to vent our anger. Meanwhile, completely oblivious to his new fan club, Su-hong was already dashing deep into the forest, moving with the speed of a rushing wind. Suddenly, he skidded to a halt, his sharp blue eyes darting to the side as he sensed a looming presence. He looked down into a clearing and sighed. A massive pack of giant tusked boars was heavily panting below. He thought to himself, seriously? Another group of initial, first-order giant tusked boars. There really are a lot of beasts in these Tianlin mountains. How many groups have I run into now? The monstrous boars noticed him. They stomped their heavy hooves, their glowing red eyes locking onto their new prey with a menacing snort. With a deafening roar, the beasts charged forward like a stampeding wall of dark muscle, aiming right for him. Su-hong's eyes narrowed, flashing with a brilliant light. Without a hint of hesitation, he unleashed his power. He roared, rushing thunder fist, 9 echoes, as explosive golden lightning tore through the charging herd. The thunderous shockwave ripped through the air, completely wiping out the entire pack of ferocious boars in a single, devastating move. Glowing notifications popped up around him. Martial values +9, +7. Su-hong sighed, shaking his head. I used to get dozens of martial values for defeating just one martial artist. But since I leveled up and got stronger, the rewards are getting lower and lower. He examined the fallen beast, muttering, whatever, I need to hurry up and find a token. He began sifting through the massive bodies. He thought anxiously, the dozen or so initial first-order beasts from before didn't have any tokens. I wonder if this pack has one. Wiping his hands with a cloth, he let out a disappointed breath. As expected, not a single token. It seems they only appear inside higher-level beasts. Half an hour later, Su-hong was leaping gracefully from branch to branch, venturing even deeper into the dense canopy. As he rushed forward, he realized something was off. He noted, when I first entered the forest, I'd run into a dozen low-level beasts every hour. Now, I can't find a single one. But here's the catch. Out of nowhere, a massive, muscular black tiger lunged from the shadows, its sharp claws slicing through the wind straight at his face. With incredible reflexes, Su-hong flipped backwards in midair. Pointing his index finger downwards, he unleashed the void-piercing finger. A brilliant blue beam of condensed energy shot out, blasting the roaring tiger with a heavy impact. The high-tier beast crashed violently into the rocky ground, sending a thick cloud of dust into the air. Wasting no time, Su-hong gripped his spear tightly and plummeted toward the beast like a meteor. With a fierce strike, his spear glowing with energy, he ended the threat instantly, pinning the massive creature to the earth. A new notification appeared. Martial values +35. Su-hong knelt smoothly, a confident smirk on his face. With my current strength, taking down a high-tier first-order beast is easy. He quickly began searching the fallen predator. He muttered, I really hope this high-tier black tiger has a token. Pulling his hand back, he revealed a dark red insignia. A victorious grin spread across his face. It really was inside the high-tier beast's stomach. But wow, finding just one token actually took me nearly 3 hours. He wiped the token clean, analyzing the situation. From initial first-order boars everywhere to finding just one high-tier tiger every half hour, it seems the deeper I go, the higher the beast rank, but the lower the quantity. Resting casually against the massive tiger, he did the math in his head. High-tier tigers give more martial values, sure, but I only find one every 30 minutes. If I hunt low-level beasts on the outskirts, I can actually earn way more points. With a new plan in mind, he grabbed his spear and marched forward. 5 hours left in the assessment. I need to gather enough martial values to completely max out my mortal body progress. What followed was an absolute spectacle of power. A crimson mist filled the air as Su-hong tore through the lower-level beasts like a hurricane. Packs of giant tusked boars were sent flying into the trees with earth-shattering impacts. A hulking black bear tried to ambush him, delivering a devastating punch. Su-hong was moving like a blur, his focused eyes darting from one target to the next. His fist erupted in blazing flames as he locked onto a new opponent. He grinned. Finally, after clearing out dozens of low-level beasts, I found a middle-tier one. He unleashed a colossal pillar of fire, blasting the terrifying bear straight up into the air with an explosive roar. The beast roared in agony, its massive maw wide open as the intense heat consumed it. Unrelenting, Su-hong leaped high into the sky, his reflection gleaming in the bear's terrified eye. He brought down a fierce, fiery strike, crashing heavily onto the beast's dark fur. The impact was devastating. The massive bear was sent crashing into a giant tree, snapping the thick trunk in half with a deafening crack. Su-hong stood tall among the wreckage, clenching his fist. He smiled confidently and thought, now that my mortal body is at 60%, I can easily take down middle-tier first-order beasts using only my raw physical strength. He pulled up his system interface. He observed, I've earned 254 martial values. I'm only 100 points away from maxing out my mortal body progress. He gripped his spear tightly, a fierce determination burning in his chest. 3 hours left. I absolutely must get enough points. But suddenly the wind stopped. A massive, terrifying shadow was cast over the entire forest, blocking out the sun. Su-hong looked up, his eyes widening in pure shock. Hovering above was a colossal bird radiating golden light. He gasped, what kind of beast is this? Could it be the legendary golden rock beast king? The magnificent creature let out an ear-piercing screech, violently flapping its golden wings. A hurricane-like shockwave slammed into the ground. Su-hong was pushed backward, digging his spear into the earth just to stay on his feet. He yelled over the wind. The Beast King's power is terrifying. Just a flap of its wings created such a massive shockwave. A massive tree violently snapped in half with a heavy thud, sending debris flying through the air as an immense pressure crushed the forest. Su-hong leaped backward off a boulder, his grip tight on his spear. He shouted, what kind of ferocious beast is that? A cold sweat dripped down his face as the crushing gravity weighed on him. He thought, recently I've been feeling a bit complacent about my strength, but in front of these top-tier experts, I'm simply an ant. Suddenly, his eyes widened in shock. He gasped, catching sight of something unbelievable in the sky. The terrifying golden rock beast king, a creature of legend, was desperately flying away from a blinding golden light. Su-hong muttered, that ball of light is... The light revealed a man with long silver hair, radiating a supreme aura. Grandmaster Qin Tianlia's voice boomed like thunder. Golden rock beast king. I, Qin Tianli, am borrowing this territory. What are you doing back here? The massive bird swooped down, its pride wounded. It screeched in defiance. I never said I'd lend it to you. Qin Tianli didn't even flinch. He thrust his glowing hand forward with explosive force, declaring, then I'll beat you until you agree. A brilliant golden strike slammed directly into the beast's chest, releasing a deafening shockwave across the sky. The rock let out a heavy sigh of pain, its massive body thrown completely off balance by the sheer force. Qin Tianlia's eyes gleamed with absolute authority. He barked, so noisy, before unleashing another flurry of devastating blows. Countless golden fists rained down on the gigantic bird like a meteor shower, pummeling it from every possible angle. With a final, thunderous explosion of power, the Grandmaster delivered a brutal smash straight to the creature's face. Lowering his fist, Qin Tianli stood tall amidst the fading light. He demanded, Golden Rock Beast King, don't make me say it again. Get out now. I am borrowing this land. The defeated beast turned tail and fled, squawking, just you wait. The Grandmaster merely scoffed, so much nonsense. Get lost. Qin Tianli took a slow, deep breath, perfectly calming his raging golden energy. His voice then echoed out, reaching every student below. I am rank 7 Grandmaster, Qin Tianli. All trainees, there is no need to panic. The assessment continues. Su-hong fell to one knee, completely awestruck. He panted, is this the strength of a human rank 7 martial artist? A new fire ignited in his eyes, sweeping away his fear. He thought with absolute conviction, sooner or later, I will reach this realm too. With the beast dealt with, the Grandmaster descended gracefully from the heavens, floating down toward the sprawling military training camp. He landed flawlessly in front of the camp's instructors. Adjusting his coat, he sighed, this golden-winged great rock. I'm just borrowing his territory. He should have just agreed straightforwardly, instead of forcing me to smack him. Instructor Lindsay smiled, thoroughly impressed. As expected of Grandmaster Qin, he's even more formidable than the rumors. The Beast King had its temper completely beaten out of it. Qin Tianli turned sharply. Enough flattery. Come with me to the monitoring room. Let's see who withstood the pressure just now. Lindsay and Bai Mu straightened up. Yes, Grandmaster Qin. Inside the high-tech monitoring room, screens displayed countless students pinned to the forest floor. Bai Mu reported, these are the surveillance playbacks. Most trainees were unable to move. The Grandmaster's eyes locked onto one specific screen. This kid, after taking out a pack of late-stage black tigers, he can still easily withstand the pressure. What is his name? Bai Mu flipped through her files. His name is Wang Tiantua. He possesses the barbarian god body. Qin Tianli chuckled softly. The son of the city castellan? He used to say having kids is like drawing a lottery. This time he finally produced a decent one. Another screen caught his attention, showing a blur of silver hair. This kid managed to escape the coverage of the pressure. What brilliant movement skills. Bai Mu nodded. Lin Xinghe from the Lin family. Then, he spotted a girl maintaining a glowing barrier. She's a spiritual telekinetic? Not bad at all. Bai Mu confirmed. Xiao Yin, scion of the Xiao family. Qin Tianlai stroked his beard. These three faced the pressure with ease. Are there any other talents? Bai Mu began listing them off. Lin Wang. She added, the dozen or so above, all possess tier 2 combat power. The Grandmaster frowned, clearly disappointed. Why are they all scions of major families? What about the students from number 1 high? Bai Mu hesitated. The 3 students from number 1 high only broke through recently. Qin Tianlai waved his hand dismissively. Forget it, I won't look. That school is a bit unworthy of its reputation. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Suddenly, Bai Mu and Lin Zhe jolted in their seats, staring wide-eyed at a particular screen. Wait, what's going on with this person? On the monitor, a young man was mercilessly smashing his spear into a massive beast. They gasped. Having just experienced the pressure, he actually still has the strength to hunt ferocious beasts. Bai Mu was trembling, her face pale. She stuttered. He is Star City number 1 high's monster. Annoyed by her panic, Lin Zhe effortlessly snatched the file, using his wind energy. What monster? Don't make such a fuss in front of the Grandmaster. Lin Zhe was shaking just as badly as his partner. He muttered in disbelief. Monster? Qin Tianlai scanned the paper, completely unimpressed. You two are both rank 5. What kind of genius haven't you seen? He sighed. They're young people after all. Their temperament isn't very steady. But then, the Grandmaster's eyes bulged out his head. He roared in sheer shock. Is he even human? He read the impossible stats out loud. All attribute affinity 100%. 3,000 points of combat power, relying solely on physical strength. Is there really such a monster in this world? Flames of pure excitement erupted from the Grandmaster's aura. Such a freak. Can actually emerge from a backwater place like Star City? A rare encounter in a millennium. He crushed the paper in his glowing red fist, a massive grin spreading across his face. Heavens, I've struck gold. Grandmaster quickly asked, wait, why is this Su Hong only a tier 1 early stage? His blood chi is so low. Bai Mu checked the notes again. Grandmaster Qin. He is simultaneously cultivating 7 guiding techniques. Qin Tianlia's joy instantly turned into blinding rage. No wonder. Cultivating 7 simultaneously. Even an immortal would be doomed. The association president didn't even explain this clearly to the child. Before he could march off to complain, a staff member interrupted. Grandmaster Qin. The trainees are arriving at the camp. Qin Tianlai took a breath. All right, let's go take a look. Stepping outside, he was immediately greeted by the elite trio. This junior greets Grandmaster Qin. The Grandmaster nodded softly. You 3 little guys, you are very good. 6 hours into the assessment, exhausted trainees began stumbling into the base. Finally arrived, one panted. I thought I was going to drop. 7.5 hours later, Qin Tianlai stood overlooking the gathered crowd. There shouldn't be anyone left behind us, right? Not arriving even after 7.5 hours. How weak must they be? But his eyes nervously scanned the tree line. He thought, that freak named Su Hong. Why hasn't he arrived yet? Could he be lost? Don't let my precious treasure get eliminated. Finally, a lone figure emerged from the glowing forest, dragging a spear behind him. The Grandmaster exhaled a sigh of relief, thinking, humph, this brat is finally here. Su Hong was completely covered in dark, visceral stains. He thought to himself, made it in time. I was so focused on earning martial value that I almost forgot the time. The other trainees stepped back in horror at the sight of him. Whispers filled the air. I don't seem to see him injured anywhere. Just how many ferocious beasts did he have to hunt to get this dirty? In the corner, the arrogant student in the suit smirked maliciously. I've finally waited until you arrived, kid. Green Jacket Guy said, don't rush. There will be plenty of ways to deal with him inside. Meanwhile, the elite trio observed Su Hong with deep intrigue. Wang Tiantuan nodded in respect. Passing right at the deadline. This guy is an expert. Instructor Lin Zhe stepped forward to address the crowd. 8 hours are up. Anyone who hasn't arrived is entirely eliminated. Next, I will introduce the facilities. He gestured toward the massive, futuristic structures. There are several major facilities. The Gravity Training Room, Movement Skill Training Room, and the Ferocious Beast Combat Room. Pointing to a grand traditional building, he added, and the Martial Arts Pavilion. Inside, you can exchange for pills, weapons, and A-rank skills. Sitting on the dirt, a tired but excited grin formed on Su Hong's face. He thought a rank. Coming to this training camp was the right choice. But here is the catch. Lin Shi smiled strictly. However, to use all these facilities, you need to produce enough contribution points. He raised a finger. And there's only one way to obtain them. By passing the various training subjects. Outstanding performance will yield extra rewards. Lin Zhe then dismissed them. It's getting late. Those who can still train may go. Injured students, follow me to the dormitories. I can't have you fading away on my watch. Later, Su-hong entered his assigned quarters, surprised by the privacy. He thought, to think it's actually a single room. From now on, I won't have to worry about being seen. Sitting cross-legged on his bed, he opened his glowing system interface. Finally waited until this moment. A total of 354 points of martial value. Let's max out the mortal body. As he allocated the points, a blistering red aura flared to life around him. The system continuously chimed, mortal body plus 0.1. A final notification popped up on the holographic screen, reading, mortal body 100% evolve. Su-hong's eyes began to glow with a blinding, fierce white light, and he exhaled a sharp hiss of pure energy as the transformation began. Deep in his training space, Su-hong's body pulsed with a blazing crimson aura, the fierce energy mapping the newly awakened pathways of his physique. A sharp vortex of wind swirled around him as he hovered in midair, the sheer power of his evolution radiating outward. Slowly, he descended, letting out a long, heavy breath as the searing energy finally faded into his skin. His system interface chimed, displaying an incredible notification. Su-hong stared in disbelief, thinking, the strongest Overlord Body? I've never heard of that. His eyes locked onto the 0% spirit rank. He muttered to himself, a spirit rank of 0% means the Overlord Body can still advance. I wonder what kind of extraordinary form it will evolve into. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Curious about his newly upgraded form, Su-hong grabbed a nearby training spear. This physique is absolutely incredible. I need to see exactly how powerful this Overlord Body really is, he murmured. He tightened his grip, and with a sharp, agonizing groan of metal, the sturdy shaft began to buckle under his bare hands. Cold sweat dripped down his forehead as he stared at the dented weapon. He gasped, this is grade C alloy, and it's about to break from just a normal grip? A sudden wave of regret hit him. He hugged the spear, lamenting, grade C alloy spears are expensive. I spent a fortune on this. But then, reality caught up with him. He paused and muttered, wait, I think I got this spear in the Star City wilderness. It didn't cost me a cent, he resolved. I need to gather contribution points quickly and exchange it for a grade A alloy spear. Throwing on his jacket, he headed out. He earned points just by wearing a weighted vest. I wonder how many hundreds of kilos I can handle, he thought, brimming with confidence. Meanwhile, in the warehouse, a massive crowd gathered around a gigantic boulder. Someone from the crowd shouted, my God, 3,000 kilograms. To everyone's shock, Wang Tiantoa effortlessly leaped into the air with the boulder strapped to his back. He scoffed, still a bit light. The crowd went wild, yelling, 3,000 kilograms, and you think it's light? He can still jump, and a typical first-tier martial artist can only handle a few hundred kilograms. Watching him, Other shook her head in disbelief. Wang Tiantoa's strength is monstrous, she said. Other crossed his arms, adding this brute. Grandmaster Qin smiled approvingly. Wang Tiantoa can handle 3,000 kilograms. That's the power of the barbarian god body. Bai Mu flipped through her files and asked, Grandmaster Qin, when should we bring up Su Hong practicing all 7 guidance arts simultaneously? Qin replied smoothly, we can't be that direct. Qin explained his strategy. Geniuses are arrogant. If we tell him directly, it will only backfire. We need to find a way to make him realize it himself and give up on his own. Then Grandmaster Qin asked, is the nitrate team ready? Lin Ziyi replied, we need more time. Assigning the right personnel to each student's power levels is tricky. Lin Ziyi, the training camp assistant, smiled wickedly. These students just finished their entrance exams. They're probably feeling relaxed. A sudden night attack now would definitely leave them crying. Qin nodded firmly. Assign a high-rank first-tier martial artist to Su Hong. I want it crushed. Then I'll explain the downsides of 7 guidance arts. They'll listen and give up. Lin Ziyi and Bai Mu exchanged worried glances. A high-rank first-tier martial artist has over 400 blood chi and 5,000 combat power. Su Hong only has just over 100 blood chi, they warned. Is this okay? What if his martial heart breaks? Qin erupted with a terrifying burst of energy. Nonsense. I'm doing this to correct his mistake, he roared. If his heart breaks that easily, it means he's trash. Back outside, the camp was buzzing with excitement. Voices echoed. Wang Tiantoa is going to the gravity room, and everyone go watch. Su Hong stood quietly, observing the commotion. Shrugging it off, he walked into the equipment room alone. Everyone's going to watch Wang Tiantoa. I should check it out myself soon, he planned. He picked up a sleek device from a nearby box. Is this the smart bracelet that calculates points? He wondered aloud. With heavy, rhythmic steps, he approached the racks of weighted training gear. He stopped in front of a massive iron frame. The heaviest weighs 10 tons? Made from super heavy alloy, he gasped. Who could even wear that? Straining with all his might, he hoisted the massive vest. Heavy. I can wear it, but it affects my speed, and I can't last long, he grunted, sweat immediately forming on his brow. He quickly swapped it for a more reasonable option, throwing his jacket over the massive 5-ton sign. With a sharp whoosh of displaced air, Su Hong tested his mobility, darting across the room in a blur of motion. He adjusted the heavy black vest comfortably over his shirt. Right now, a 5-ton load is ideal for me, he concluded with a confident grin. His mind wandered back to his rival. He thought, I wonder what weights Wang Tiantao and his group chose. They are high-rank first tier, so they should be similar to me, maybe even stronger. Zipping up his light training jacket to completely hide the massive vest, he headed toward the door. I should go watch their training too. Hope to learn something, he decided. When he arrived at the pyramid-shaped gravity room, the crowd was in absolute awe. Wang Tiantao is a beast. He entered the gravity room without even taking off his 3-ton vest, someone shouted. From the panel, people are watching and said, he even set it to 2x gravity, ridiculous. Even though he looks like he's struggling, that's 6 tons. Su Hong crossed his arms, looking severely underwhelmed. He thought, Wang Tiantao's vest is only 3 tons? So light? It seems I had a misunderstanding about how strong the Overlord Body is. He noticed his classmates looking dejected. Chen Shen, Li Tu, what's going on? Not training? Su Hong asked. Chun Shan sighed. These guys are way too strong. We're way behind. If we go in now, we'll be compared. It'll be too embarrassing. Ignoring their hesitation, Su Hong walked straight toward the entrance. The crowd murmured, Su Hong, you're really going in now? Aren't you worried about looking foolish? Better wait until fewer people are around. The whispers grew louder. Wait, is this guy stupid? He's probably not wearing a weighted vest. Maybe he wants to surpass Wang Tiantua's gravity multiplier. Does he have no shame? He must have nerves of steel. Unfazed, Su Hong stepped through the doors. He thought, gravity rooms are extremely expensive. Only great clans can afford them. Ordinary martial artists never even get to see one. I can't waste this chance. Standing in the center of the high-tech chamber, he calculated his limits. A 5-ton vest at 2 times gravity equals 10 tons. I can only last 10 minutes. Reaching for the control panel, he adjusted the dial. Let's set it to 1.5 times. I can last longer, he reasoned. The moment the machine activated, a crushing force slammed into him. Su Hong grimaced, his knees buckling slightly. Ugh, so heavy, he groaned. Outside, the crowd watched him on the large monitors, bursting into laughter. He's not even wearing a vest. Why is it only 1.5 times gravity? He was the last to arrive, after all. He's weak. Hilarious, they mocked. But here's the catch. Inside the room, Su Hong sat in deep meditation, a furious red aura flaring around him. As expected from such an expensive gravity room, he thought. Guidance arts are so much harder under this pressure, but the cultivation speed is incredible. 2 grueling hours passed. Su Hong remained anchored to the floor, panting heavily as the intense red energy continued to surge from his body. Sweat poured down his face, and his eyes snapped open, glowing with a fierce, ethereal light. His system updated with a glorious notification. He smiled proudly, realizing, except for thunder and fire, all the other guidance arts increased by 1 level. And my blood chi went from 126 to 130. Shutting down the machine, he struggled to push himself up, his legs trembling from the sheer exhaustion. If the gravity room is this effective, the movement and beast rooms must be incredible too, he mused. The heavy metal doors slid open, and Su Hong dragged himself out into the cool night air, wiping his forehead. Finally out. I'm exhausted, he sighed. 2 mocking trainees immediately spotted him. Look, the tailender is out already, one sneered. The other laughed. No vest, and he couldn't handle 1.5 times gravity. Covered in sweat. If it were me, I could sleep in there. Su Hong, completely ignoring their arrogance, unzipped his light jacket, revealing the massive, thick black armor beneath. The weighted suit is awful for ventilation. I'm roasting in here, he complained casually. The 2 trainees instantly froze, their eyes bulging out of their skulls in absolute, terrified shock. The mocking trainee scoffed as Su Hong unloaded his gear. They whispered among themselves, astonished. He was actually wearing a weighted vest before. How heavy is it? The other chimed in, look at this tailender, struggling. 500 kilograms is enough to do him in. Still, being able to stay in the gravity room for 2 hours means his strength is decent. Su Hong dropped the vest to the floor with a heavy thud. The trainee mocked. Even if that tailender has some skill, he cannot compare to Wang Tiantao at all. What a joke. Never mind him. Which of us can compare to a monster like Wang Tiantao? Just then, a commotion rippled through the crowd. Wang Tiantao is coming out. Someone shouted. 6 tons of pressure. And he endured for over 2 hours. Su Hong observed the scene quietly. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Wang Tiantao emerged, his muscles practically bursting from the intense pressure. So awesome. A bystander yelled. His physical strength is definitely number 1 in the training camp. If it were me, I could only last half an hour at most with a 500-kilogram load. He threw his jacket on the ground with a loud thud. All the bystanders were in shock. Wang Tiantao rolled his shoulders with a sharp crack, sighing in relief. Phew. Finally relaxed, he muttered. Damn, this weight is terrifying. Lin Xinghe casually approached him. Wang Tiantao wiped his sweat and said, Old Wang, I am definitely not your match in strength. Want to go to the movement room and compete? Lin Xinghe smiled softly, waving his fan. You practice an A-rank movement technique and have the wind attribute. I would have to be crazy to compete with you. Su Hong's ears perked up instantly. He thought, an A-rank movement technique? A confident smirk spread across Su Hong's face, his blue eyes gleaming. Although my Overlord body is very strong, I am currently lacking a high-level movement technique. Later, at the neon-lit movement training room, a trainee screamed in awe. This is the A-rank movement technique. Flying Swan Startling Cloud Steps. It is way too strong. A massive crowd gathered around the observation glass. The movement room is packed with arrow launchers. I cannot dodge them once I set it to level 3, one complained. Lin Xinghe actually set it to the maximum level 10 difficulty. Su Hong squeezed in a watch. Inside, Lin Xinghe gracefully danced between a barrage of glowing lasers, moving with effortless speed. Too fast, my eyes cannot even keep up. A student yelled. I cannot last a single second. Lin Xinghe even struck a flamboyant, elegant pose in midair, surrounded by falling flower petals. He actually has the energy to show off. And where did those flower petals come from? Someone shouted. A female trainee swooned. What's showing off? I just think he is so handsome right now. Su Hong focused intensely, analyzing every step. Great technique. A translucent blue screen appeared before him, displaying Flying Swan's Startling Cloud Steps, 1%. The intricate footwork reflected directly in Su Hong's glowing blue iris, his mind rapidly memorizing the pattern. Suddenly, Su Hong stepped forward, his sneakers sliding against the concrete with a soft swish. The nearby trainees turned their heads in confusion. Quick, look, one nudged his friend. Whoa. Su Hong began flawlessly mimicking the graceful movements, completely immersed. The crowd burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, look at what this guy is doing. He does not actually think he can learn Flying Swan Startling Cloud Steps just by watching Lin Xinghe's movements, does he? Hilarious. How could an A-rank movement technique be that easy to learn? But Su Hong ignored them, moving faster and faster as the system notifications rapidly climbed. 8%, 15%, 30%. Lost in the flow, he struck the exact same elegant poses as Lin Xinghe, surrounded by a glowing pink aura as his mastery shot to 93%. With a powerful stomp, he landed perfectly. The system chimed brightly. Congratulations. Flying Swan Startling Cloud Steps, officially mastered. Entry level. Su Hong beamed. I have finally learned my first A-rank movement technique. But then, realization hit him. He awkwardly scratched his head. But Lin Xinghe's movements are so flamboyant, it is a bit embarrassing. But since I have not seen a normal version, I had to learn from him for now. The system flashed, returning player to reality. Brushing off his clothes, Su Hong thought, since I've already learned the technique, there's no need to train in the movement room anymore. Better to go to the beast room to end some threats, earn martial arts points, and raise my blood chi. Suddenly, he noticed the entire crowd staring at him in dead silence, taking pictures with rapid camera clicks. Why is everyone staring at me? He wondered. One trainee muttered, your posture just now was so flamboyant. You really have Lin Xinghe's vibe. Another added, impressive. I definitely cannot mimic that. It is too flashy. A massive wave of embarrassment washed over Su Hong, his face turning bright red. Did I actually strike those flamboyant poses in the real world too? Without a second thought, Su Hong activated his new technique and sprinted away like a bullet. Damn it, I can never use Lin Xinghe as a learning template again. Behind him, the crowd chased, shouting, handsome guy, do not leave. Do that move again. You were so cool just now. As he escaped into the cool night air, Su Hong glanced back suspiciously. Someone is following me. Two shady trainees stepped out of the shadows. The suit guy smirked, hefting a heavy wooden club. Finally found him. He is probably heading to the beast room. Then let us block the entrance. When he comes out, we will give him a real beating. Su Hong arrived at the colossal, fortress-like beast room, where a massive crowd was already gathered outside. Near the entrance, Wang Tiantua laughed heartily. Ha ha ha. Yin, are you saying you want to compete with me in clearing beasts? Xiao Yin crossed her arms, her expression unbothered. I just want to know which of us is truly the number one in this training camp. The tension rose as they faced off. Wang Tiantua boasted, you do not think you can beat my barbarian god body just by relying on spirit power, do you? Am I being underestimated? Xiao Yin smirked back. I think you are the one underestimating the power of a spirit reader. Su Hong watched from the back. A spirit reader? I have not seen a spirit reader's combat style yet. Might as well watch first, then go clear beasts for martial arts points. Suddenly, the massive observation screen lit up, and Su Hong gasped. Wait, what is going on? Inside, Xiao Yin was already engaging a pack of wild beasts. Swanstead in Shir Disbelief. She is actually floating in mid-air. Walking on air is a feat only Grandmasters can achieve. Is this the power of a spirit reader? With a simple wave of her hand, Xiao Yin unleashed blinding streaks of golden energy. The golden light instantly pierced through 3 high-level rank 1 black tigers, ending the threat before they even hit the ground. Su Hong was stunned. In just an instant, she took down 3 high-level rank 1 black tigers. What were those streaks of light? But the battle was not over. A massive, towering dark beast lunged toward her with a terrifying roar. The beast glared down at her with glowing yellow eyes, its fangs bared. But Xiao Yin did not flinch. She simply floated backward, her spirit power radiating outward to instantly paralyze the monster. Suhon observed closely. She can even use spirit power to forcibly bind and control enemies. With a sharp swipe of her hand, a barrage of golden daggers tore straight through the beast in a spectacular display of power. Suhong's sharp eyes caught the shape of the weapons. I see. Those streaks of light are daggers. He clenched his fists, trembling with excitement. Walking on air, telekinesis controlling enemies. No wonder every spirit reader is insanely strong. They can easily crush ordinary warriors. A colossal rock snake burst from the ground, roaring furiously. Her eyes flared with intense focus as she prepared to strike. The giant golden blade crashed down with devastating force, completely slicing the monster's defenses. Suhong was utterly baffled. A weapon? She was not holding a weapon before. Besides, a weapon that big must weigh several tons, right? Out of nowhere, Lin Xinghe appeared beside him, elegantly waving his fan. This is a martial technique unique to spirit readers, and it is A rank. Lin Xinghe casually walked past the shocked crowd. Suhong turned, wide-eyed. A technique unique to spirit readers? I have never even heard of it. Another A rank? Lin Xinghe, how do you all have A rank techniques? Does Wang Tiantao have one too? Lin Xinghe smiled confidently. Of course. He has an offensive A rank technique. The crowd erupted in disbelief. That is insane. Are you guys all monsters? Instead of fear, Suhong felt a rush of pure adrenaline. Wang Tiantao has an A rank technique too, and it is offensive. This training camp is really packed with A rank techniques. I came to the right place. On the screen, Wang Tiantao shattered a massive beast with a single devastating punch, sending shockwaves through the room, exploding a high-level rank 1 beast with one punch. What kind of technique is that? A student yelled. Suhong smirked. What technique? That is just his pure physical strength. This strong, without even using a technique. Suhong narrowed his eyes. Wang Tiantao does not seem to have any intention of using a technique right now. Whatever. I will find another chance to learn from him. Suhong pulled up his system panel. Right now, I just want to become a spirit reader, but my spirit stat is only 26.5. They say you need over 100 spirit points to become a spirit reader. I'm still short by 73.5. He cracked his knuckles, a fierce blue energy flaring around his fist. 73.5 martial arts points. Looks like I'm going on a rampage. As Suhong casually walked into the dimly lit side entrance of the beast room, the two ambushing trainees peeked from around the corner. See that? He went in. The suit guy tightened his grip on his heavy wooden club, a wicked smile on his face. Everyone else is watching Wang Tiantao and Yan's training. No one is paying attention here. Great chance. Let us break in and give that kid a real beating. They sneaked up to the door and peeked at the private monitoring screen. Suddenly, the second trainee screamed, "Holy nonsense." The suit guy smacked him, hissing, "What are you screaming for? Do not let him notice us." But as he looked up at the screen, his weapon almost slipped from his hand. "Look," he whispered in absolute terror. Inside the containment room, Suhong stood completely fearless, surrounded by a terrifying massive swarm of over a dozen giant scorpion beasts. The trainees outside gasped, shivering in fear, challenging over a dozen beasts at once. And they're all high-level rank 1. Is he crazy? The two ambushing trainees watched from the shadows, gripping their clubs in fear. One of them panicked, asking, "Should we go get the instructor to save him? Otherwise, this kid is a goner." The other shook his head, replying grimly, "Too late. He will be devastated in seconds." Down below, in the arena, Suhong dropped into a low, steady fighting stance. The trainee sighed. "Looks like we won't get our revenge after all." But Suhong wasn't scared in the slightest. He just smirked, gesturing with his hand. "Come on," he challenged. With a deafening roar, the massive scorpion and snake-like beasts lunged forward, charging right through the thick dust. A giant red pincer smashed into the ground, but Suhong leaped back with incredible speed, effortlessly dodging the devastating blow. In midair, Suhong extended his hand. A swirling orb of brilliant blue energy began gathering in his palm. With a thunderous explosion, he slammed the energy blast directly into the charging monsters, sending heavy shockwaves echoing through the entire room. He didn't stop there. He swiped his hand, sending sharp, glowing blades of light tearing through the air. The energy blades sliced through the pack of beasts with a sharp hiss. A crimson mist filled the air as the monsters fell one by one. Watching from above, the two ambushing trainees stared in absolute shock. "Am I dreaming?" one gasped. "Is this something an early-stage, first-order martial artist can do? Even a mid-stage fighter would be done for if they were surrounded by over a dozen high-tier beasts." The other narrowed his eyes. Wait a second. That movement technique looks familiar." Sweat dripped down his face as realization hit him. It is Lin Xinghe's flying swan, startling cloud steps. "No way." The other trainee argued. "That's not right. He is just a student. There's no way he could have access to such a high-grade technique. Does he come from some great family?" He paused, his eyes widening. Could it be that he just watched Lin Xinghe perform it once, and then learned it? "This is an A-rank technique," his friend shot back. "It is impossible to master it just by watching for a bit." How insane would his talent have to be? The first trainee swallowed hard. How about we just forget it? Let's not get revenge on Su-hong. The two of us combined are not nearly enough to handle him. But the leader gripped his wooden club tightly, trembling with frustration. No, he muttered. Whether he is the scion of a great family or some freakish genius, I cannot swallow this insult. His friend shakily pointed a finger toward the viewing screen. Before you go looking for trouble, he warned, you had better take another look at this. The leader turned to look. The heavy wooden club slipped from his fingers, hitting the floor with a heavy thud as he stared in pure disbelief. On the screen, Su-hong casually sat atop a mountain of defeated beasts. The leader stammered in shock. We only talked for a few minutes, and 10 high-tier first-order beasts are already ended? Down in the arena, Su-hong wiped the sweat from his brow and checked his smartwatch. 10 high-tier beasts gave me 81 points of martial value total. That is only about 7 points each, he sighed. It seems the stronger I get, the harder it is to earn martial value. Suddenly, his piercing blue eyes darted to the side. He noticed something moving in the shadows. From the dark corridors, more glowing red eyes appeared. Fresh targets were emerging from the gloom. Su-hong stood up on the fallen monster, stretching his arms. No time to rest, he smiled. Let's keep going. A massive, three-eyed feline beast leaped straight at him, claws fully extended. But here's the catch. Su-hong didn't even flinch. He pulled back his fist, channeling a fierce, glowing energy. With a powerful shout, he unleashed the Vajra fist, slamming an explosive golden blast directly into the monster. The impact was devastating. A massive shockwave erupted from his punch, blasting the surrounding beasts backward with a heavy thud. Seeing his terrifying power, the remaining scorpions and feline monsters actually started backing away, trembling in fear. But Su-hong wasn't about to let them escape. He leaped forward, grabbing a giant scorpion's tail midair. With unbelievable strength, he swung the colossal beast like a whip, smashing it into the other monsters with heavy, bone-crushing force. Back up in the observation deck, the two trainees listened to the terrifying crashing sounds echoing from the screen, completely speechless. The leader swallowed hard, forcing a nervous smile. Revenge only breeds more revenge, he rationalized. I've decided to forgive him. His friend quickly agreed. Then let's get out of here quickly, before we get beaten up by this monster again. As they sneaked out into the main hall, they heard the crowd buzzing. 9 high-tier beasts. Wang Tiantaw ended them in less than 10 minutes, someone shouted. Another added. Xiaoyan didn't even move and defeated 8 high-tier beasts. A classmate spotted the two ambushing trainees. You guys are back? Didn't you say you were going for revenge? Did you beat that kid up? The leader forced an awkward laugh. Oh, yeah, definitely. Internally, the leader thought, beat him? If we were not clever, we would be lying on the ground like defeated dogs right now. He sighed. This training camp is ridiculous. It is full of freakish monsters. Just then, the training room doors opened. They're out, the crowd cheered. Students swarmed the top performers, asking, you defeated so many beasts. How many contribution points did you get? Xiaoyan said 270 points, and Wang declared 280 points. A student analyzed the math out loud. Keep in mind, 1 high-tier beast is only worth 5 contribution points. If they were all high-tier, they must have taken down 50 or 60 of them. Wang casually checked his smartwatch. The settlement for the weighted vest points is in 100 points. Xiaoyan said, I only got 50. Around her, the regular students wept over their scores. I only got 20, one whined. I carried 1 ton and only got 30, complained another. A third just sobbed. I only got 10. Lin Xinghe asked the other two, hey, who won your beast hunting competition? Xiaoyan pointed at Wang. Him. The crowd murmured. Then Lin Xinghe's points must be insane. With those 3 monsters around, we can only fight for 4th place. But the 2 ambushing trainees just smirked in the background. Ignorant people, they thought. There's an even more terrifying monster in this training camp, who stands way above those 3. Fast forward, 1 hour later. The training room looked like a total disaster zone. Countless massive beasts lay completely motionless on the ground, defeated by a single force of nature. Su-hong sat among the fallen giants, exhausted and drenched in sweat. He exhaled heavily. He wiped his face, thinking, even with the Overlord Body, I am feeling exhausted after hunting beasts for over an hour straight. But I am still far from the 735 martial value I need. He tapped his watch. It showed 400 points for beast hunting and 300 for the weighted vest. I did get 700 contribution points, though. I wonder what I can exchange them for at the martial arts pavilion. Later that evening, Su-hong arrived at the grand, beautifully lit martial arts pavilion. Inside, he walked up to the front desk, flipping through the catalog book. The receptionist rested her head on her hand, looking completely bored. Su-hong scanned the pages. Tier 1 Blood Chi Pill, 10 points. Healing Pill, 20 points. But the A-rank skills, Explosive Palm, is 2,000 points. Startled Swan Skywalk is 3,000. He frowned slightly. A-rank skills are incredibly expensive. The cheapest is 2,000 points. But the prices for pills are decent, especially since they have spirit-focusing pills here. The receptionist sighed lazily. Classmate, Have you decided what to exchange? Internally, she rolled her eyes. He looks like he is only at the early stage of the first order. He probably cannot afford anything good. Su-hong pointed to the catalog. Does the spirit-focusing pill here refer to the kind that can increase mental power? She nodded. Yes, but it is only effective the first time you take it. The higher the grade, the better the boost. Su-hong analyzed the list closely. The highest grade they have here is Tier 4. 500 contribution points. With a confident smile, he raised one finger. I will take one Tier 4 spirit-focusing pill. The receptionist jolted up, stuttering in disbelief. What? She waved her hands frantically. A Tier 4 spirit-focusing pill costs 500 points, not 50. Su-hong just calmly adjusted his watch. That's right, a Tier 4 pill. With a soft beep, he scanned his watch, displaying a whopping 700 points. The receptionist pointed at the screen, her jaw dropping. He actually has 700 contribution points, she screamed in her head. Her attitude flipped instantly. Smiling warmly, she handed him a decorative box. Here you go, sir. Your spirit-focusing pill. Su-hong took it, asking, Thanks. By the way, do you have any alloy spears with both lightning and fire tributes? She blushed with starry eyes, practically glowing. Yes. Only 200 points. Thank you for your business, handsome. Back at his dorm room under the quiet moonlight, Su-hong placed his brand new C-rank Thunderfire spear against the wall. He sat cross-legged on his bed, reviewing his system interface. My blood chi and guidance techniques have improved again, he thought, and I have gained 490 martial value points. The improvement I made today is more than I used to make in a week. He opened the ornate box, revealing the glowing golden pill. My mental power is at 26.5. I am still 25.5 away from reaching 100. He pinched the pill between his fingers, looking at it with sheer determination. I hope this spirit-focusing pill can provide that boost to my mental power. Tossing it into his mouth, his eyes gleamed with ambition. I am definitely going to become a spirit reader. Su-hong wiped his mouth with a confident smirk. He held up a radiant, glowing green pill, a Tier 4 spirit-focusing pill. Su-hong thought, just after swallowing this Tier 4 spirit-focusing pill, the effects are kicking in already. Surging green energy pulsed through his veins. He lay back, feeling a wave of relief. He thought, my exhausted nerves are finally relaxing. It feels so good. My mind has become incredibly clear. I can sense everything around me. Suddenly, his sharp blue eyes snapped open. A holographic screen materialized in front of him. He realized 50.5. My mental power increased by a full 24 points. Is this the power of a Tier 4 pill? He calculated mentally. 50.5 plus 490 martial arts value is 99.5%. I'm only 0.5% short. He sighed. That's only 5 martial arts points. If I had known, I would have taken down one more fierce beast. Falling back onto his bed, he thought, what a pity. I'll have to wait until tomorrow to collect more points. I should get some rest for tonight. Meanwhile, over at the training camp warehouse, a massive group of veteran warriors had gathered. They muttered among themselves, scanning through target profiles. One of them asked, Bu Jingfeng, aren't you training at the martial arts university? Why were you summoned here too? Another chimed in, exactly. Why are you here with us old-timers to wait on these geniuses? The veteran leader, the fire tribute swordsman, scoffed. He spat, genius is my foot. If I were still in high school, these kids wouldn't even be qualified to be my sparring partners. That big guy said, this Wang Tiantoa I'm in charge of has a blood chi of 340. You weren't at that level back then, were you? Everyone laughed at this comment. Other ones said, the one I'm responsible for also has over 300 blood chi. One other said, mine is even a spirit reader. Don't need to tell you how strong spirit readers are. He held up a profile sheet and complained, why are the students you're all handling so strong? Mine is only Tier 1 early stage, with 123 blood chi. The others looked on in disbelief. When asked why did they assign you such a weakling? Another added, your strength is the highest among all the warriors who came today, even a cut above the 3 of us. Making a Tier 1 high-tier warrior ambush a Tier 1 early stage kid, did Grandmaster Qin make a mistake? Just then, heavy footsteps echoed through the hall. Grandmaster Qin stepped forward, his presence commanding the room, and declared, no mistake. The veteran leader protested, Grandmaster Qin, this is looking down on me a bit too much. He's just a Tier 1 early stage nobody. Qin replied calmly, this Su-hong isn't as simple as he looks on the surface. His combat power is enough to rival a Tier 1 high tier. Everyone got shocked, 123 blood chi. But combat power comparable to Tier 1 high tier? What kind of monster is he? The leader frowned. I'm almost at 500 blood chi and about to break through to Tier 2, yet I'm being asked to bully a junior with 123 blood chi. Qin explained, some of Su-hong's intelligence is classified. It wasn't in the files I gave you. You'll understand once you fight him. With a sharp smack to the back of the veteran's head, Qin barked, if I tell you to fight, you fight? Enough nonsense. Furthermore, you must go all out. It's best if you can beat Su-hong until he starts questioning his life choices. The veteran rubbed his head, sweating nervously. He asked, Grandmaster Chin, do you have a grudge against this student? I won't be responsible if I severely injure him. A dark, terrifying smirk spread across Chin's face as he replied, Good. Beat him until he's completely battered. Not only will I not blame you, I'll even reward you. The veteran shuddered, thinking, that smile is terrifying. Poor Su-hong is in for it. With a swift command, the veterans dashed out of the warehouse, disappearing into the night. The Star City training camp was quiet under the cold night sky. Suddenly, chaos erupted in the dormitories. The purple-haired veteran struck with his scimitar, launching a surprise attack. Shouts echoed across the complex. Who are you? One student yelled. An ambush, screamed another. One poor guy pleaded, Bro, at least let me put on some underwear. Back in his room, Su-hong sat up sharply. He thought, someone is attacking. Without warning, glowing slash marks tore right through his solid door. The veteran leader burst into the room, wielding a blazing purple katana with a devastating strike. With incredible reflexes, Su-hong leaped back as the massive energy blade cleaved his bed in half with a deafening crash. Skidding across the floor, Su-hong thought, I've heard that the myriad races often hunt human geniuses to weaken our strength. Is it them? He quickly reached out and grabbed his heavy spear. Standing tall, he pointed the spear at his attacker, thinking, I wonder what this person's strength is. The veteran sneered as he leaped into the air, enveloped in a violet aura. He shouted, As expected, just a Tier 1 early stage brat. You're out of luck meeting me. Su-hong analyzed the attacker. He thought, a human Tier 1 high-tier warrior? Not from the myriad races. A confident smile crept onto Su-hong's face. He thought, perfect. You're exactly what I need. Gripping his spear tightly, he swung it with explosive force. He strategized, if I defeat him, I can gather those last 5 martial arts points and become a spirit reader. The veteran watched in shock. He thought, a mere Tier 1 early-stage warrior, and instead of dodging, he chooses to counterattack? Is he out of his mind? The spear and katana collided midair, creating a blinding flash of energy and a heavy thud that shook the room. The veteran gritted his teeth, feeling the immense pressure. He realized, this kid's strength is intense. His combat power really does rival a Tier 1 high tier. Grandmaster Chin didn't lie to me. As Su-hong pushed back harder, the veteran panicked. He thought, wait, this strength isn't right. Is this the kind of power a Tier 1 warrior should have? Enveloped in a blazing red aura, Su-hong easily overpowered the strike. He confidently thought, you're just a Tier 1 high tier. It's not like I haven't beaten one before. The veteran let out a roar of frustration as he was forced back. With a powerful sweep of his spear, Su-hong shattered the veteran's defense, sending him crashing onto the floor. The veteran struggled to his feet, his arms trembling. He thought, is this kid a monster? The veteran smirked and declared, however, a battle between warriors. Suddenly, his blade erupted in intense purple flames. Isn't just about who has more strength, he finished, aiming the blazing katana right at Su-hong. Su-hong remained completely unfazed. Golden lightning began to crackle around his spear. He noted, a fire tribute martial art. It's my first time seeing one. The fiery katana slashed downward with immense speed and heat. Leaping high, the veteran unleashed a massive, glowing cross slash. He taunted, Brat, how will you deal with this B-rank martial art? She roared, blazing slash. Su-hong channeled his golden energy, lightning arcing wildly around him. He analyzed, this power is far stronger than the void-piercing finger, even though they're both B-rank. The lightning-infused spear thrust forward, clashing directly against the massive purple energy wave. A thunderous explosion shattered the floorboards, sending debris flying everywhere in a cloud of dust. When the smoke cleared, Su-hong touched down effortlessly, not a single scratch on him. He casually pointed his spear back at the stunned veteran. The veteran stood frozen, a cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. He thought in disbelief. He blocked my B-rank fire technique just by releasing raw lightning, without using any martial arts. This kid's talent is terrifying. No wonder Grandmaster Chin told me to go all out. Regaining his composure, the veteran pointed his sword and said, too bad you don't seem to know any lightning attribute spear techniques yet. Otherwise, I really wouldn't be able to defeat you so easily. Now this is where it gets interesting. A sly smile formed on Su-hong's face. He calmly replied, it's true I don't know any lightning spear techniques, but what if I add this, he declared. Instantly, crimson flames erupted around his spear, twisting and merging perfectly with the golden lightning. He stood bathed in a terrifying, beautiful glow of dual elements. The veteran's eyes widened in sheer horror. He stuttered in disbelief, asking how it was possible, as his mind screamed, attribute fusion. The fiery veteran leader stared down Su-hong, saying, attributes repelling each other is a truth all warriors understand. But Su-hong just stood there, his spear radiating a chaotic blend of fire and lightning. The veteran's face paled as sweat dripped down his cheek. He muttered, attribute fusion, the power of thunder and fire. I thought it was only a legend. His eye twitched in pure disbelief, reflecting the blazing, volatile energy of Su-hong's weapon. Desperation kicked in. The veteran charged forward with his blade, shouting, "Go!" but instantly realized his terrible mistake, thinking, "Oh no." With a wild, desperate swing wrapped in purple energy, the veteran roared, blazing slash. But Su Hong was completely unfazed. He shouted, "Deflect," meeting the strike head-on with a blinding clash. And then, Su Hong unleashed a relentless barrage. Streaks of golden lightning and intense fire rained down, completely overpowering the seasoned fighter. The veteran coughed as she was pushed to his absolute limit, screaming, "This power! It's ridiculous!" With a heavy thud, the veteran was blasted backward by the sheer force of the shockwave, groaning loudly, "Ugh!" A sharp hiss filled the air as the blazing energy faded, leaving a thick, turbulent cloud of smoke. When the dust settled, Su Hong stood victorious, his spear firmly planted in the shattered ground as his system granted him more points. A confident smirk crept onto Su Hong's face as he checked his glowing blue system panel. He thought to himself, the martial Dao value needed to become a spirit reader. "I've finally got it." Let's rewind a few seconds outside the training building, where Grandmaster Qin Tianlai and his assistant Bai Mu were casually waiting under the night sky. Qin stroked his beard and confidently stated, "It's about time. Su Hong should have been defeated by Bu Jingfeng by now. I prepared several speeches to convince him to give up practicing multiple guidance techniques. Tonight, I'll finally set him straight." Suddenly, a tremendous crash shattered the silence. A figure burst through the high-rise window, plummeting toward the earth. The body slammed onto the pavement right in front of Qin and Bai Mu with a devastating impact, kicking up a cloud of debris. It was the veteran swordsman, completely knocked out cold. Qin and Bai Mu stared in absolute, stunned silence. This was definitely not part of the Grandmaster's plan. Bai Mu gasped, her eyes wide with shock. She stammered, asking how Bu Jingfeng could be lying there, adding, which means, Su Hong defeated him. But wait, it wasn't just him. 3 more colorful streaks of energy rocketed out of the building. One by one, the rest of the veteran ambush squad plummeted to the ground, creating heavy craters upon impact. The massive Bu Jingfeng, the purple-haired masked ambusher, and the others, all piled up in a defeated, pathetic heap. Meanwhile, the other top geniuses emerged completely unfazed. Wang Tianto smirked, floating down alongside Xiao Yin and Lin Xinghe, and laughed. He Grandmaster Qin, bring someone stronger next time. This one wasn't enough of a challenge. But then Wang Tianto glanced over and noticed the 4th unconscious body. He raised an eyebrow, muttering, For people. He scoffed, assuming the worst of the fallen veteran. Oh, was there another one on the ground? Someone actually won faster than us? That warrior must have been too weak. He was taken out effortlessly. Bai Mu quickly corrected him, pointing nervously at the massive bald man. Bu Jingfeng is weak. He's the strongest among the 4. Grandmaster Qin rubbed his chin, deep in thought. He pondered, Wang Tianto and Lin Xinghe are both late tier 1, and Yin is a spirit reader. It's normal for them to win. But Su Hong is only early tier 1. Facing a quasi-tier 2 warrior, he won even faster than the others. A drop of sweat rolled down Qin's face as the reality set in. He wondered, how did he do it? Top-tier martial skills? Or a top-tier constitution? Suddenly, his assistant Lin Zhe came sprinting toward them in a sheer panic. He yelled, Grandmaster Qin, something big has happened. Qin waved his hand dismissively. Was a student accidentally taken out? It's no big deal. A few losses are to be expected. Lin Zhe frantically shook his head. No, it's Su Hong. While fighting Bu Jingfeng, Su Hong used a fusion guidance technique. Qin nodded calmly, taking a moment to process it. Oh, so it's a fusion guidance technique. He mentioned looking into 7 types. No wonder he could beat Bu Jingfeng. Then, it finally hit him. Qin's head snapped back in absolute, comical shock. Grandmaster was so shocked he grabbed Lin Ziyi from the shoulders and asked, Wait, what did you just say? You can't just talk nonsense like that. Lin Ziyi replied. Su Hong really fused thunder and fire guidance techniques to defeat Bu Jingfeng. Lin Zhe, remembering his own reaction in the monitor room, shouted, I saw it clearly on the monitors. If you don't believe me, you can go ask Bu Jingfeng. Qin stared at the unconscious veterans, his mind racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Bu Jingfeng mumbled, That's right, it's a thunder-fired dual attribute fusion. Losing all his composure, Qin violently grabbed Lin Zhe by the shoulders. The only genius warrior of our human race to ever research dual attribute fusion took a full 10 years to do it, Lin Ziyi replied. And Su Hong? He's been practicing guidance techniques for less than a month. Qin threw his head back, his eyes sparkling like a proud, ecstatic grandfather. A monster? No, this is a falling star, a true dragon in the world. Bai Mu, trying to keep up with the hype, asked, Grandmaster, is attribute fusion really that strong? Strong enough to let an early tier 1 defeat a quasi-tier 2. Qin looked back seriously. Back then, the warrior who researched it could suppress a tier 2 while still a tier 1. Bai Mu asked, with such formidable combat power, why isn't it encouraged now? Even if it's difficult, what if someone succeeds? Qin explained further, his tone darkening. Many people tried back then, but they found that attribute fusion is not only extremely difficult, but also has a high probability of ruining one's cultivation. Even if you do succeed, what use is it if you stay at tier 1 for the rest of your life? Qin clenched his fist, his golden aura flaring up brightly. But Su Hong succeeded in less than a month. This level of comprehension is heaven-defying, and he possesses 7 attributes. If he fuses them all, how great would that power be? Qin visualized an epic scenario. Su Hong soaring through the air, obliterating a colossal, armored beast with a single blinding strike. If a monster like this truly grows up, he might stun the emperors of the 10,000 races with a single move. Lin Zhe's sweat dropped, gently interrupting the old man's fantasy. Grandmaster, you're exaggerating. That's enough. Fusing 2 attributes is already difficult. 7 is pure fantasy. Qin coughed awkwardly, turning away to hide his blushing face. Forget my loss of composure just now. If I let Su Hong continue practicing 7 attributes, and he ends up stuck at a 3-attribute fusion in the future, then I would become a sinner to the human race. Suddenly, Lin Zhe slapped his forehead in realization. Oh, I almost forgot. Su Hong definitely has a special constitution. His strength even crushed Bu Jingfeng. Qin shouted at him, "Why didn't you say something so important sooner?" Qin and Bai Mu looked deeply concerned. 120 vitality, yet his strength crushed Bu Jingfeng, who has nearly 500 vitality. A 4-fold difference, yet his strength boost far exceeds Wang Tiantua's barbarian god body. This kid's constitution might also be something heaven-defying. A serious, competitive glint returned to Grandmaster Qin's eyes. Organize a match tomorrow. I want to test Su Hong's combat power and vitality in every aspect, and bring Wang Tiantua and the other 2 out to face him. Qin glared out into the night, heavily anticipating the ultimate clash. I want to see what happens when a monster like Su Hong goes up against the strongest geniuses of the training camp.